Hey, folks. Hey. All right, like we do every day. Can you guys tell me if you can hear me? Oh, let's see how latent it is today. All right, it's my sound check. All right, why is my chat not moving? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, y'all got the haze. Dang, this thing is latent as usual. Okay, thank you, Kirk. Y'all can hear me. Hey, folks, happy August. Yeah, I feel like we haven't had a chance to chop it up for a really good minute, just because there's been so much I've been occupied with lately. But yeah, so we're gonna have a few things to kind of cover. I didn't get a chance to write all of my notes down because there was so much. So hopefully we can get through everything. Um, Let me get my little shout outs in real quick, and then we'll jump into some of the commentary. There is a lot to kind of cover tonight. I tried to keep it light, but that failed. So yeah, we got a few heavy subjects, but a lot of it should be a little bit funner. It's the summer, so we got to live just a little bit. Let me scroll from the top. What up, Albert Old School, Kirk Tareen, Tanika Shante. If I skip you, please forgive me. I'm not like straining. I'm just kind of looking and zooming, and what I see, it just pops out to me. So I'm not specifically picking people, so please don't take it that way. Beverly T. Lipscomb, thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I don't even know how y'all knew it. I guess if you follow me on Instagram, you would have known. But or maybe people just saw the balloons in that picture and figured it was my party. But that wasn't my party. That was somebody's 75th birthday, and they just happened to have an all-white party. And I guess the balloons, me standing by, people must have figured, oh, it's his birthday. But yeah, it was my birthday, so thank you. I'm trying to get into this space where I actually am a bit more celebratory around things like birthday, because like I told y'all before, I'm not big on birthdays, holidays, or I haven't been for a while, and I'm trying to get back into a space where I can really enjoy those things. It's just there's so many small little tragedies that have all happened around either my birthday or the holidays, and so you have those memories that latch on to everything. Like my birthday was like, well, when my father passed, my birthday was like the next week after the funeral, so that kind of all sits around. Or even like the holidays, Christmas of 2014, we didn't spend or get to enjoy because we were sitting in the ICU the whole time. And then like the summer, I lost a lot of different relatives and stuff. So some of those it's harder to really latch onto and enjoy. But I'm trying to shift my energy. You know what I mean? Let me see here. Let's see. Thank you. Oh, y'all was cussing me out. I was 2 minutes late. My bad, y'all. I was coming. I had to get my tea out off the stove. All right. Let's see. All right, we're about to start in exactly 2 minutes. I'm just getting people an opportunity to hop on. Let's see. What's good, Calvin? J Law. Everything is good at the moment. WW said, how lucky are we to see Beyonce's career unfold? I was just telling somebody, depending on when you're born, it's kind of cool when you look back at all of the people that are out when you're coming up and everything. Like I've always been grateful that even though I probably wasn't around for a lot of their primes, but people like Michael and Prince, and well, Whitney was in her prime when I was still coming up. Michael and Prince and Janet and all of them, it's kind of dope to grow up and see them. And then not only that, but then as you get older, you literally, like if you're in my age group, you remember when somebody like a Beyonce came out. So it's kind of cool to just see everybody's career trajectory, which is pretty dope. Let's see. Dell said you was fresh in that picture though. Thank you. Look, and I was stressed because I don't really wear a lot of white outfits. I wear a little t-shirt or something, but they said all white party. I was like, I don't have any white clothes minus a t-shirt. So I had to go and try to find something. And, it was like you couldn't find everything together. Either it was like white cream pants or white shirt, and those two don't go together. I was like, man, this ain't fun. Fortunately, Macy's, lifesaver. All right. I was trying to be fancy, and it ended up being Macy's that helped out. All right. We got to keep it moving. Oh no, Sam J. Oh yeah, my mom passed away 2 weeks after my birthday. Yeah, for some reason, things always just happen during your milestones, and there's always something that kind of like taints the light around it, which can really suck. So that's tough. Thank you, Tangled 55. I appreciate it. Let me see. Raywin, what up? SF said, "How old are you? 25? Add like 10 years of that." No, this is 34, y'all. I'm getting up there. Getting up there. Oh man. Lovely Coley said, what's the tea tonight? It is It is ginger tea. Yes, it's like scalding hot too, so I ain't gonna be sipping it for a minute. I ain't trying to burn my mouth on here. Um, Ayana J said, I love the podcast. Run us some new episodes. They are coming. And now that I have a new job, I can talk about my old job on the podcast because I could never talk about the kids because I didn't want to get fired. So now I can do it. I'm gonna change everybody's names around though. But there's also some really cool things coming with the podcast that are related to the podcast, but not the podcast. So that's gonna be really cool if we can get what we're trying to do to go off the ground. When y'all don't see me, just know I'm working on stuff. I'm not just at home sleep. All right. All right, we really have to start because I'm taking too long. Alton Mason said, did you talk about Janet's Essence Fest? The mic was on. She killed it. I didn't get to talk about it because I didn't do a live, but I did watch Janet at Essence. To be a Janet fan, I was pleasantly surprised because as a, y'all know I'm like a second lieutenant of the Rhythm Nation. I'm like second lieutenant of the Mid-Atlantic chapter. I go hard for Miss Jackson. And so, yeah, it's interesting that at the age that she is, she's still putting a lot of effort into the shows. I've just figured, I've seen her so many times. I was like, okay, we're going to get to that cusp where finally she's like, all right, I'm not about to be out here trying to spit on my head no more. I'm going to bring it down because I am like 56. But Janet at Essence was like, nah, I'm going to do if I'm going to do the arm blades. And she actually had the mic on, like live vocals. I said, all right. She must have been seeing what people were saying on Twitter. So good for her. I was thoroughly impressed. I thought it was a great show. She was really good. New Edition was really fun to watch. I got to see some of what Patty was doing. I got to see Lucky Day's set. Summer Walker, I like her songs, but I would like for her to have a new approach at the live show. She know how to put you to sleep. Really great music, but that like, where is the energy? She will stand in one spot, and that's what you're gonna get for 45 minutes. And I'm like, oh, okay, and it's not to diss her or nothing like that, but man, great music. But just, I guess everybody's not a performer. But the thing that's interesting is she still is in really good voice. Like I've never seen Summer Walker have a bad vocal delivery live. It's just something about her just not having stage presence that'd be killing me. But Essence looked like a really good lineup. I was the main one talking trash a few lives ago, like I'm not paying to go because ain't enough people I want to see, and Janet's gonna go on tour. Janet ain't on nobody's tour. Now than Mister. I was almost gonna go to Cincinnati to see her at the Cincinnati Music Festival, but I was like, nah. All right, I got to keep it going, y'all, because we got to start. All right, let's just go ahead and start. Let me tell y'all some trapper stuff that has taken place. What up, Sam A? Watching all the way from Paris, France. Okay, I haven't been to France, and I was a little kid when I was there, so I don't even remember it that well. But you're a military kid, you live overseas, you get to go to all those places. All right, I'm gonna go over a few things. First of all, let me tell you some trifling stuff that happened. Let me just say, y'all know for some reason there's always a fire in my building all the time. I told y'all some years back, the lady that lived across from me set her kitchen on fire. Like I was coming back from the barbershop and all I heard was these people saying like, help, help. I'm like, huh? And I thought I was just going to do like CPR, and I had just went through my training for the little summer camps. So I was like, oh, cool. Perfect. Hold on. I'm sorry. I got to acknowledge. Thank you, Kirk Tareen, definitely watching. Hear your thoughts about Bishop. Oh, I'm gonna light him up in a minute. And thank you, Tanita. Happy birthday. But yeah, so I'm thinking, oh, I just gotta do CPR or something. Okay, cool. And I'm like, what's the problem? They're like, it's a fire. I'm like, fire where? And so they say the unit number, and I'm like, wait, that's across from me. And at the time, I was still working on my last album, and it was almost done, but it wasn't done yet. And fortunately, the way that my building is set up, if there's a fire in one of the units, it's only staying in that unit because the firewalls are really good. And this building is like metal and cedar block and cement. So nothing's burning through anything. And so the way I ran right past their apartment to get to mine so I could get my laptop, because I was like, I don't know if everything is saved in the cloud. I've been working too hard on the hardcover. And so like that happened. And then literally 3 months later, the same lady did it again. I don't know what happened. I think she was trying to make some fries or something and fell asleep. I was like, man. And so this most recent one, this was like 2 days before the 4th. I had a really great weekend out, running the streets, trying to hold on to what's left of my youth. And I get home. On the weekends, I like to watch the ID channel, the channel with all the people that be killing up their wives and stuff for the insurance policy. I like watching all those little documentaries and stuff. I'm literally laying down, watching ID channel. I keep hearing like the building alarm, but it's not loud enough. And I'm like, all right. And normally the alarm always goes off anyway, so sometimes I don't move. But something was like, maybe you should go and check things out. So I got up, put on some real clothes, because normally I'll be in like some house shoes and basketball shorts and like a white beater and be on my way. But I was like, let me put on some real shoes. So I get outside and there's actually like a fire. I was like, oh shoot, okay. And so it was like on the 4th floor. it was contained to that unit, but the problem was the sprinkler system couldn't turn off in that unit. Fortunately, it didn't come on in mine, and so we were outside from 2:49 a.m. to 7 out there standing. Eventually, I snuck back in the building and took my car out the garage because I'm like, if I'm gonna stand out here, I might as well sit in my car. But it was crazy because the water damage was so extensive. Like the water went from like the fourth floor down to the third, to the second, and down into the lobby. And like I'm watching because like the front of my building is like all glass, so you can see the inside of the lobby, and it looks like there's a shower going on in the lobby. And I was talking to the people around me like, I don't think we're going home tonight, or we ain't about to go home today. And mind you, I had to be up at 8 because I got invited to some event. And so I'm looking at my watch. It's 6 o'clock. I'm like, dang, I'm about to have an hour of sleep. And so I'm watching the ceilings and the light fixtures and everything falling out of the lobby. I was like, yeah, we're not going home. And then our building finally sent us like a notification on the app. And they're like, oh, it's going to be a few more hours. The fire's been put out. They finally figured out how to turn off the sprinkler system because my building is been run by like a new company and the new people didn't know how to do nothing. But they were like, oh, we'll probably let you guys in a few hours. I'm like, a few hours? So just as I was texting my godmom and say, I'm coming to your house because I might be homeless, I don't know. Then they were like, oh, actually, if you're on this floor, this segment, you can go back in the building. But we couldn't go in through the front. We had to go in from the back. And so since I'm like up higher than the fourth floor and I'm on the other side of the building, my side wasn't affected. But none of the elevators worked because all of that water getting into the wires and everything. So all the elevators were fried. You had to take the stairs, but they had to prioritize people who were either disabled or elderly or needed assistance getting up the stairs because again, there's no elevator. So you're watching the firefighters take people up 12, 13 stories, floors. So I waited like another 2 hours. I didn't get to my room till like 9 o'clock. I didn't even go to the event. I was tired. I was so irritated. So it's been a S word show in my building for the past few weeks because, trying to get the contractors to go and fix stuff. And the only thing I do like now, though, is I told y'all, like, I got a neighbor next door that's irritating because his house is the turn up. Like, they don't ever go to sleep over there because all his friends are like 60. They're retired, so they don't got to go to work in the morning. So all night, every night, they got the music cranking and thumping. And then they be in there fighting because they done played dominoes and somebody slammed the table too hard. Now y'all messing up my good furniture. So they be in there fighting and cussing each other out almost every night. But now that the elevators are not working, all them folks ain't going up the stairs. So it's been quiet. I've been sleeping good. And just as a petty response, I've been recording, my music and doing all the up tempos every night. Payback. But fortunately, I'm just really glad everything worked out. I still, like I said, I'm ready to own. I wish I would have purchased a home in like the fall of 2019 because that was like the perfect time when interest rates were still like at a good spot. And, it's a terrible time to buy now. So now I got to wait like probably a year or two if I want to own. I do think I'm probably not renew the lease. I'm still thinking about it, but it's expensive out here, man. DC costs arm and a leg, so it is what it is. I do want to say this as a side note because I know school is getting ready to start back. Please, parents, find additional resources in regards to educational, outlets and resources for your kids in addition to what's happening in the schools, because we're seeing what's happening nationwide with them kind of stripping the curriculums, regulating on what people are allowed to talk about. And they are watering down so much of our history. And in addition to that, and I'm going to jump into it later because there's a few topics I want to jump into that kind of correlate to that. But there's so many instances of just nonsense we're seeing in our politics, in just everyday life, in everything. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that even before they started trying to push all these new crazy laws, people were already stupid in reality when it came to history and how the world works, especially if they've been taught that they are superior over everybody else and their way of the world and their lenses, the perspective that everybody else should have. Now that they're being challenged, you're seeing the violence and everything occur. But it's really hitting like the public schools. You're even seeing the libraries and all these different things take place as far as how they're trying to change curriculums or regulate what people are allowed to talk about or consume or what books are being banned. So please do not just depend on the schools to educate your children. And this is not a diss towards teachers because I think there are some really great teachers out there, but our education system in this country is a shit show right now. And it's more of the structure and those in charge. And because, again, our leadership, depending on what states you're in, your governors, whoever's in charge, they pretty much get to sign off on what's happening. We did a segment on one of these lives where I talked about how our textbooks are made and how they're purchased and sold, where literally, let's say you have McGraw-Hill, which is one of the largest distributors of like history curriculums. What they normally do is they go ahead and they write their actual curriculum. And then as they sell it to the different states, these different boards that are elected through the state go and look through the book and say, well, take this out, put this in, take this out, put this in. And then, they go through a process where there's another review. They send the edited version of the book, and then they go through another revision process. Okay, well, let's take this out, take that out. It gets signed off by whoever's in charge. And then finally it's distributed in the different states. And this is why you can have a company like McGraw-Hill have 50 different versions of the same textbook for each state, because again, depending on your state's politics, it's going to play a role into what's told in history. And so I think I said this before, but a really great resource for those who may just want to do things at home in addition to what your kids are being taught at school. There's a book called Black History 365. You can order online, and it's been put together by a bunch of prominent Black people and public figures and officials and educators. And literally it's a very interactive catalog of Black history, and there's a bunch of things in it. It's interactive. They got games, there's music, because some kids just don't want to look at words and pictures all day. They need something to interact with. And so it has a little bit of everything in it. And then even with some of the voiceovers and stuff, I think it's people like Smokey Robinson and stuff on the voiceovers, but they have found a way to really kind of keep history intriguing. And it's not just what we already learned, but they try to be expansive and really dig into things we don't normally always talk about. And I think it's a book that's very age appropriate, especially for people that are probably 5th grade and up. There's definitely some things you can learn. So again, it's called Black History 365. I'll post the link in my description after I finish this live, but that's a great opportunity as far as just getting your kids additional resources. I wish there were more outlets out there that are a bit more educational. I told y'all, when I lived in Italy as a child, we didn't have regular commercials because we only had 1 or 2 channels, and they were military channels. There was no advertising as far as the commercials. You weren't going to be watching a show and then they're showing an Adidas commercial. The commercials were all educational. So it would be oh, boom, it'd be oh, it's time for another US trivia. This state was found in blah, 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 blah. And you'd have 10 seconds to count down, and then they would give you the answer. Or when I learned about George Crumb making a potato chip, I learned it from one of those commercials because they told the story. When I learned about George Washington Carver, it was coming from those commercials that they were adding, and then health related commercials and stuff like that. So I don't know. I feel maybe that's kind of an approach they should do with some of the kids networks like Nickelodeon. So in addition to advertising the toys and the candy and the cereal, throw some educational stuff in the mix just somewhere. And I think what was dope was the commercials were intriguing and interesting. So you actually would sit and watch them, and even if you weren't into that kind of stuff. I'm kind of a history dork anyway, so I'm really into that kind of stuff. But I think even for other kids, just finding ways to keep learning, engaging, because I think there's almost this war on intelligence right now. And we're in a space where, again, when you have social media and everything like that, it's really hard for a lot of people to concentrate already. And we're coming into the space where people are comfortable just being wherever they're at. And I feel even as an adult, you should strive to still want to learn something every day. I think the minute you stop striving to learn or better yourself, you've limited your capacity. And not only that, you're getting left behind by society now, because society is going to keep moving. So if you choose to stay in one box forever, good luck to you. And that's why we see all these lunatics now that are running for office that have chosen to stay in their boxes. And now they're trying to enforce, their viewpoints from the boxes on everybody else who see things differently. Thank you. We need to do better. Thank you. That's their name. But we also do need to do better. So I agree. Anyway, on Hulu, I got a chance to watch Aftershock, which I think a lot of you should watch. It's a documentary pretty much highlighting what's happening in regards to the maternal rates in regards to childbirth, or mortality rates in regards to childbirth with Black women. There's a lot. It's pretty heavy, but it's a quick watch. And we've talked about this before too, but I always love when there's a documentary or something to kind of give more insight to some of these conversations we have. But in the documentary, and I'm not going to spoil it all, but it follows the lives or what was the lives of a few people that were, as far as Black women, that were carrying children, and sadly conditions just did not align because either they were ignored by the hospitals, or there wasn't a sense of urgency in regards to their concerns. And sadly, it took a toll on the outcome where they're no longer with us. And so one of the main characters ended up having a pulmonary embolism, and it was something that could have totally been prevented had the hospital just paid attention and listened. And there was another woman like Amber Rose Isaac, and hers was very concerning too, because when women are going through, and I'm not the best on all of this. I'm not the OBGYN doctor, but I try to educate myself as much as I can. But when it comes to women and pregnancy and childbirth and everything, their platelet levels are never supposed to go below like 150. And so for Amber Rose Isaac, like she kept saying she was having all these problems, and I think this was after she had given birth. She kept saying she was having all these issues, and they kept saying, "Oh, you're fine, so and so. Take some Tylenol, just lay down, get some sleep." And so when they finally looked at her platelet level, it was down to 48. Remember how I said it needed to be 150? And so it's just like there were so many things that took place. There's a portion where it shows like a men's support group for like black men who've lost their wives or their girlfriends or the mothers of their children. And one of the guys had this really sad story where after the mother died, the hospital didn't believe he was who he said he was, and they literally made him take a DNA test in order to take the child home. And it's kind of just like, man, that's really tone deaf. The man just lost his woman, and man. But again, when you're talking about what's happening in regards to just the discrepancies that exist. They highlight what happens with like C-sections or cesarean sections and how it's a lot more prominent than back in the day. Like you go back to 1970, only 5% of childbirth was through C-section. And after 2019, it's now 30%. Now, to be fair, some of that also correlates with people who may have more than one child. So maybe twins or triplets, and sometimes it's easier to go that route. Or if it's a breech birth, or if the baby hasn't, I guess that is breech if it hasn't turned around and everything like that, and all those different things. But even with the C-sections, there's still a discrepancy between like black and white women, where white women 30% of the time have one, and black women have it 35.9% of the time. And the issue is there's also the conversations of like pregnancy related death, because again, C-section is still technically surgery. And so the issues we run into is we've talked about how a lot of times black women are ignored sometimes by nurses, because there's this stipulation or this idea that black people in general, we can just tolerate excess amounts of pain. We're going to be just totally fine. And so when we're saying that something has happened, oh, it's all in our mind, we're just doing too much. And so when you start talking about like pregnancy related death per 100,000 people, for white women the rate is 12. For Native American women it's 29.7%, and for black women it's 40. Not percentage, the actual number per 100,000 is 29.7. For black women it's 40.8. So again, going from white women at 12.7 to black at 40.8, it's literally like triple, or not triple, or just under triple the amount. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I was reading this one piece where they were saying that for a lot of medical students, when they talk about delivery methods, pretty much the standard of how they measure body types is centered around the pelvic region of what white women naturally tend to have genetically. I think I had a piece of my phone I wanted to read really quick. Did I write it down? Let me see. Yes, hold on, let me read this real quick. Black women, despite this history, black women's bodies are often viewed as problematic when it comes to giving birth. Pelvic structures vary by ethnicity and even geography, but instead of teaching students to deliver babies from the wide range of body shapes in today's multi-ethnic societies, medical books commonly treat the average white woman's pelvis as the gold standard for vaginal delivery. Rather than learn to support or give birth vaginally, it's easier to cut women open. They're talking about specifically black women. And this part was interesting as well. When the U.S. economy depended on slavery and therefore black reproduction to thrive, black women were depicted as strong, perfectly capable of pushing out multiple babies and then heaving bales of cotton while carrying those babies on their shoulders. So I don't want to get too deep in this because it's a whole lot. But man, the other thing, they were talking about the discrepancies with the fact that a lot more, like we said, black women end up having C-sections versus vaginal birth. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's also the conversation of pricing, because the average C-section is about $22,000 versus, doing the actual pushing out, which is about $13K. And so it was talking about how a lot of times these different hospitals, doctors just don't want to put the investment and time into making sure that certain groups have healthy pregnancies and deliveries. And so rather they would just go ahead and push out the C-section. Plus there's a conversation of profits. And so sometimes these actions are kind of driven by profit. So it's an interesting watch, and like I said, it's a quick watch, but I think it does open your eyes to some different conversations. So those of you who want to have children, just really make sure you're on top of stuff, and really hound your doctors, because they be playing around. Like there's no reason that something that should be like the light of your life ends up being a tragedy. All right, I'm gonna pause for 1 second and read some comments, and then we're gonna jump to AirBNB. I know half of y'all are probably here for Beyonce. I'm gonna get to her in a minute, but some of y'all need to be educated anyway, so Beyonce will still be here when I'm done. All right. Let's see. Okay. Somebody said I'm clearly tripping. Oh, is that about? I guess that's maybe about Summer Walker. Sorry, my bad. I just wasn't into it. Um, Somebody said, "What do the folks in your building be doing?" I don't know. There's a lot that goes on in here. Like I literally just got. I'm not telling that story. No, I'm giving y'all too much. Y'all know too much about my life already. Just know my building is off the chain. All right. BNB says, since when do you go live on a Tuesday? I'm excited. It's because I'm about to skip town for like 3 or 4 weeks, so I won't be home. So I'm telling y'all now, y'all not about to see me for a while. So I was like, let me at least get a live in before I go. But if you get bored or you didn't get enough, I did put that Tony Braxton episode out, and it's 2 hours. So you watch that twice. That should make up for about a week's worth of not having any material. Man. Queen said, not the laptop rescue. Yeah, listen, I was not, I worked too hard on that last album. I wasn't about to let because I didn't know if the fire was going to spread across and, catch on from the rug and go to my unit or something. I was like, I ain't about to lose my album. And yeah, absolutely not. Somebody said, tell your neighbor to just DoorDash. But the problem is they be stealing the food. That's what I don't trust DoorDash and all that because they either steal the food. Sometimes the bag don't be stapled. I'll just get up and go pick it up. I'll make the order and get it. I don't want nobody bringing me food. Like I don't even trust like the pizza delivery man and stuff like that. They be eating your fries and stuff. So nope, I'm good. I'm be trusting folks. And then there's too many things going on. You got COVID, you got monkeypox, folks be coughing and wheezing on your stuff. Not at all. Absolutely not. All right. Oh, y'all are already trying to start some drama. Master Course said, this may be an unpopular opinion, but here goes. He said, Lizzo's album is better than Beyonce's new album. I haven't heard Lizzo's yet, so I can't have an opinion. I'll get to Beyonce in a minute. Somebody said, you need to save your documents in a safe deposit box that, if it's that many files. Oh, don't worry. I got all the important stuff like locked away. Like, again, I guess I'm the responsible one in the family. So of course I have all of the documents for if things happen to other members of the family. All of that's in like the nice fireproof box and everything like that. But as far as all the studio equipment and stuff, that's not really something I can put in a safe. All right, I'm gonna keep scrolling a little bit. Nan Nelson said, I loved your So What Happened on Tony Braxton. Do you think that Black artists will ever have crossover appeal with music squarely rooted in R&B again? I would like to see it happen. I just think as social media became what it became, as the internet became what it became, and as the industry became less regional and less, how do I word it? Like, I feel like a lot of times music was also kind of in compartments that belonged to specific communities. As everything became more intertwined, more people became the faces of genres that they may not necessarily be rooted in. And I think we're now in this space where things are becoming a lot more universal at the expense of Black people. And so sadly, I don't know if we'll get to a space where you'll see what we saw in the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s, where you saw like prominent Black R&B artists having these massive careers that crossed over commercially. You're going to have the exceptions to the rule that always do well, like the bigger named acts. But I just think the industry's changed so much where you're going to keep seeing the structures and things shift. And so how we remember the music industry, I don't know if we'll ever see that again. And it just kind of be the new norm. Plus, people have a different approach to music now. Like, if you're somebody who didn't grow up in a space where you had to go to the store and buy music, and it's just always been available to you for free through streaming or on YouTube, there's a totally different approach to music as opposed to when you had to spend all your last bit of money that you made from cutting grass to go buy that $18 album, and then you had to pray to God that it didn't suck. Like, it's just a different space. The appreciation for music has changed. In addition to the fact, like, we talk about what happens in the schools, and they're not, the music programs are always getting gutted and everything. The musicality, and I said this on the last live, there's a lot of entertainers out right now that don't have musicality. They're just out there doing anything. And a lot of folks, I think, really just, they like the idea of fame and the idea of being a household name, but the work that goes behind it, they're not about to invest in. And so you're starting to see the emergence of a lot of people who I think are very lackluster as entertainers, but I do think there are some really great ones out there. But, we'll see. Man, let's keep it moving. All right, I'm gonna scroll a little bit because I want to keep going because I got a lot we still need to cover. Thank you. Travis Simmons said, too many conspiracy theorists. There are a lot of people who I think I think Americans watch too much TV already. Like, I think there's a lot of nonsense that happens with those up top that affect us all in regards to being collateral. But I do think a lot of folks latch onto the idea of things that we've seen in movies and televisions, and so in television. And so you have this wave of people who constantly think that something is not right in the water with literally everything. I mean, it can rain outside. Somebody got a conspiracy theory about the raindrops. You know what I mean? Like, you could wake up and tomorrow's Wednesday. Somebody got a theory about how this person, they were in the back room, and really Wednesday used to be a day called Brown Day, and they got rid of that, and that's because you guys need to wake up because y'all all sleep. And I'm like, okay. And the thing is, like, folks, the scary part is folks latch onto a lot of it. You have a lot of folks. I told you I hate the phrase woke, but I was saying it before white folks stole it. So, but I feel like you have a lot of people who are running around here woke with no discernment, and it's so easy for them to just latch onto any and everything, just to appear to be more enlightened than the next person. We're in a space where there's like this competition of trying to outsmart everybody else and be the "I told you so" person, when in reality you didn't tell us anything, because when the issue was taking place, you were silent. You had no opinion. Then when the aftermath shows up, I told y'all this is what I tried to tell y'all. Even in politics, you're seeing it. Sometimes I'll say my 2 cents on here about things, and folks can be in the comments, we tried to tell y'all. And I'm like, I don't remember you telling us nothing, but go ahead and give us a solution. And then when you ask for a solution, they tell you something half crazy. Like, man, I would love to use an example, but I think they still watching. I don't want to offend that person, so I'm going to leave it alone. But I remember I gave somebody the floor one time, and by the time they told me what their solution was, I think my teeth cooled off. I was just like, all right. I almost jumped to the computer by the time I read what their solution was. I was like, you done talked all this trash, and this was the solution. We better off just getting on the spaceships going to Mars at the rate that you going. But anyway, all right, let's keep it moving. Airbnb. So Airbnb has been catching some smoke. I'm gonna actually read the article, and then we shall chat. It's a quick article, so it won't take that long, I promise. Where's it at? Maybe I haven't already talked. Okay. Maybe having a million articles in here. Airbnb on Monday removed listings of properties that once housed enslaved people in the U.S. days after a TikTok user lambasted a a slave cabin listing in Mississippi that was advertised as a bed and breakfast accommodation. Winton Yates, a black lawyer from New York, I cannot read tonight. A black lawyer from New Orleans criticized the San Francisco-based company last week and posted screen grabs of the listing promoted as the Panther Burn Cottage at Belmont Plantation in Greenville, Mississippi. According to the screenshot, the structure was described as an 1830s slave cabin that was also used as tenant sharecropper's cabin, and a medical office for local farmers and their families. So if you've seen the clip, the guy pretty much highlights the fact that there was a listing where it's literally slave quarters. And mind you, it's like half the size, a third of the size of this room, like a small little box, and they kind of, revamped the room and added, the Egyptian cotton sheets and the special lighting, some central air and some heat and everything else. Try to make it a little luxury, add some razzle dazzle to the slave quarters to make them nice and fun and spunky. And so he was highlighting like what's happening with that. And then even the comments that the people were leaving behind, like, oh, this was just, it was a great experience. Oh, so historical, but just very elegant. I said, what is elegant about slave? Okay. All right. And so what's interesting is, just like we talked about how we're in a space where people up top want to constantly strip away history, on the other end of the parallel, you have people who like to water down history and repurpose it to be something fun and exciting and exhilarating. And so, yeah, let's go spend our money and sleep in what used to be slave quarters. But it's not going to be the experience that they really had. It's going to be a 21st century experience where we've remodeled the slave quarters. And, we got running water and porcelain sinks and marble bathtubs and, got bidet and, bed and breakfast. You get the breakfast comes to you in the morning. You don't got to get up and go farm for 20 hours and not get a break and then pray to God you get to eat that day. None of that. Everything is just going to be rolled out to you on a red carpet. So this is the luxury slave experience. And so you're just seeing kind of like the desensitizing, or not even a desensitizing, but the dismissal of people's plight and their experience, all in the name of capitalism and all in the name of getting a quick dollar. And it's crazy because when you really think about what would have gone down in some of those cabins like back in the day. Like that's not a luxury place to stay. This is not HGTV. You know, when they have those, oh, let's make a tree house for $600,000 and it's gonna be, you know, we're making a tree house in Fairbanks, Alaska. We just love to be cold. It's -2 degrees in the winter, but we're gonna make a tree house and we're gonna charge $600,000 for it. It's gonna be so much fun, and the kids are gonna live downstairs and we're gonna live upstairs. It's just gonna be really, really fun. And the best thing, it's only gonna be 200 square feet because we're minimalist. Like, get out of here. This ain't no HGTV type of nonsense. Okay, yeah, my husband's a professional card dealer at the casino, and our budget is $2 million. Okay, but anyway, when you think about what was happening in those quarters, like one, you know, as hot as as hot as HE double hockey sticks or whatever. Like, there's no air, there's no heating. You know, the germs that are in there from, just think about, you get injured, there's no real health care. You know, you get beat that day, you bleed out on the floor. And the best thing somebody can do is probably scrub the smells that are probably in there. People that have died, again, people giving childbirth and these things. Like, these were not luxurious, you know, estates to go and live in. And the fact that people would want to go and stay in them or repurpose them to be something, you know, luxurious, like a fun, cool escape. Oh, it's giving us a lesson in history. It's not. It's you trying to feel less guilty about the fact that your lineage, your ancestors suck because they oppressed and enslaved people. And now you're trying to paint it out to be something fun. And, oh, we learned so much. No, you learned nothing. You tried to repurpose the narrative to fit your own perspective so you can feel less guilty about what your ancestors did. Get out of here. It kind of goes back to what we talked about when we talked about, like, remember in the history curriculums back in the 70s, in the state of Georgia, where they had the Book of Georgia, and they talked about how, like, slavery wasn't that bad. And, oh, you know, the slaves would have a froth and they would walk around and dance in circles and sing and just have a camp out at night as the sun went down, just sing songs. Like, people will constantly go and try to repurpose the narrative to kind of fit, you know, what makes them comfortable. And so, you know, lots of nonsense. It's just like folks will strip away the history, but it's just, it's insulting to me. And so Airbnb, I think it was smart that they decided to yank all of those properties off there, but I'm giving a strong side eye to everybody who decided to even indulge in that. And it's crazy because these listings were like, they had wait lists. Folks were breaking their necks to get in. Oh, I can't wait to stay in the slave quarters. Just like, all right, I guess it's some nonsense. Kind of reminds me, there was a picture on Twitter where somebody was getting fried up. It was like the guy who married his white wife, but they got married on like the slave plantation, and then they jumped the broom at the same time. I was like, y'all got a lot going on right here. I ain't want to judge, but you got a lot going on. Like, I'm gonna need you to restructure and align exactly what the goal is here. But anyway, all right, let me read a few comments, and then where did I write y'all girl at? I don't even know where I put Beyonce. I put it on here somewhere. Oh, I got one more story before I get to her. All right. Let's see. Y'all already fighting about Beyonce. We gonna get to her. Dang, man. Lord. Y'all better have this energy the next time Janet drop an album, if she ever does. You know, she be playing games too, talking about we'll see. What you mean we'll see? You made me watch a whole documentary. You ain't got an album ready? We'll see. Okay, Janet. Whatever you say. I know y'all can hear them ATVs outside. Dang it. I feel like mine is a bat. Yoshi 3329 said mainstream R&B artists are mediocre. I only listen to underground at this point. It took me a minute, but I'm finally able to find them. I'm not going back to mainstream. I think there's some great people. It's just the mainstream machine knows who they want to put out there, sadly. But like we've always said, there's some really great artists out in the trenches of the internet you got to find. But I think people miss the era of just the music just like being right there for you. And not only that, but you and everybody else knowing those songs that you love. You know, now we all kind of have our own, you know, category of what we're into, and usually it's something that is only for us. So people get on my nerves when they ride in my car because they're like, what are we listening to? What I'm playing. All right, gas is hot. It's too hot for y'all to be complaining right now about what's on the playlist. You better ride it and sing along quietly because I'm gonna be singing lead. You can sing backup. SF said, I think it's easy for people to latch on to conspiracy theories because the U.S. government is not forthcoming with information that affects citizens. Very true. Yes, and then you find out things later down the line. So it makes a lot of sense, but I think there's also people who know that there are pockets of the population that are extremely vulnerable cognitively, and so they latch onto that and take advantage of that, and will literally have whole movements. Like, I think Alex Jones is full of crap. Like, I think Alex Jones knows half the stuff he says is some nonsense, but he recognizes that not only does it pay well, but he has a whole following. He seems like somebody who probably, you know, he was probably somebody that didn't really mesh well with folks in middle and high school. And so now he finally has his audience. And so he will take advantage of them and lead people astray. But I mean, there's a ton of folks that are just all off the chain. Let me see. I'm going to keep going. Queen said, "Wish the spirits of those slaves that died there would have haunted them. Tainting sacred ground like that is gross." They better learn about Lake Lanier and all these other lakes. You know, every time you go to them lakes that were man-made, where they pretty much destroyed a black establishment and built something over it, and then people keep drowning at Lake Lanier every 5 minutes. Boats be exploding. All right, play around if you want to. I'm surprised Central Park doesn't have like a haunted thing floating around with it, since that's the old Seneca Village. Um, Akira 34 said, "Come on now, they've been capitalizing off our minds and body." Yeah, I mean, your guard just has to be up all the time with everything, which is draining sometimes. That's why, like, I feel bad sometimes because I know, like, a lot of times there's things that take place, and then y'all be like, "Where's Calvin to talk about this?" And Calvin is nowhere to be found. Calvin is making sure that he still has his inner peace. All right, I can't latch on to every outrageous thing that happens every day because I'm just starting to know too many people personally that are losing it. People that are like extremely intelligent and very in the know, and now you're watching them literally go into a space where you don't even know them because they're just not well. And I'm like, I'm not about to get to that space. So I've had to really take some time to check out of a lot of things. Um, let me see. Um, okay, I want to keep going. All right, I think this is one of my last heavier stories before I get to the lighter stuff. Um, there's a viral clip going around from Dillard's where there was a man named Homer. Homer worked there for 20 years, and there was a black father who was there with his 10-year-old son, and he was asking, where the fitting room was, and somehow Homer, it slipped out. He didn't call the black man a F and N word, right? And so there's the video footage of the father confronting Homer, right? And the father has done this very graceful approach. I mean, he talked in like a level that was right here this entire time and just wanted the person to know that, I have never done anything to, go out of my way to be disrespectful to anyone. And now I have to go and speak to my 10-year-old son and give him, and, so he gives Homer this very, very elegant and poised response. And of course, Homer, oh, I hurt my foot and it just came out. I'm like, here y'all go. And everything else like that. Long story short, now they've gotten rid of Homer. So Homer's been fired from Dillard's. And what's interesting is Homer worked there for 20 years. So here's the thing. I have respect for the father for going about it the way that he did. I don't know if I would have had the same approach. I'm at a space where I'm tired of educating people that already know better. For me, it's either we're throwing hands or I'm going to corporate and you just won't work there anymore. Most likely, I'm going to go for the corporate thing because I don't need to be catching charges for some random Joe off the street. And so, the thing is, the father like took the time to try to educate him about why it wasn't the best thing to do in regards to saying that word. And the thing is, that man knows. Like, these people know, and they like to play dumb all the time. It's just like the Diane Warren lady who was just catching smoke on Twitter, what, yesterday or today, because she said what she said and then went to act like she was naive about things. Like, people love to play different games where they will be the aggressor all night, all day, and as soon as somebody gives them some smoke, they latch and jump back into being innocent. And I just didn't know. It's kind of like even like the white Christian inspirational singers that decide to make gospel themed music and then try to market themselves in a black church, but then still support every right wing, far extremist, racist, we don't like anybody but white Christian males ideologies. And then when they get confronted by like people in the black church, oh, well, well, what we believe, what God wants us all to know. I'm like, no, don't do all that soft talking now. Speak with the same conviction you had a month ago. All right. Where's Paula White with the African angels? But anyway, it's interesting because the guy was saying like, yeah, I hurt my foot. I was mad. And it's crazy that a lot of times when people get caught like doing something racist or saying something racist, that's normally their go-to. Oh, I was mad. So it's interesting that that's normally the first thing you go to. As soon as you get mad, the first thing is the anti-blackness jumps out right away. You hit your knee, but somehow black folks have something to do with it. So now we F and N words. So the dad, kudos to him, but I just wouldn't have had the same approach. I'm not sitting here and talking to you for 6 minutes in a calm tone to try to educate you. And Homer is about 60, 70 years old. Homer knows. Okay, Homer was definitely throwing rocks at the black kids from the school bus when they started, forcing the mandatory busing in the 70s. I ain't no fool. Homer, please. And so I just wasn't doing it. But yeah, I'm at a space where, all right, either we throwing hands or I'm going to corporate. And like I said, most likely I'm just going to go to corporate, right? Go to corporate. You just won't be working there no more. So then when I see you on the freeway, I'm gonna call you the F and N word when I drive past, right? The thing is like they know, right? They just like to pretend that they're out of the loop on things, but then as soon as it's time to vote, they go right ahead and latch on to every racist policy and everything else that's out there. As soon as black folks move in the neighborhood, they got a problem with it. They want to start all kind of commissions and committees and everything else like that. As soon as it comes time to talk about what's really happening in education with the schools, now they're at the school board meetings with AR-15s trying to threaten everybody because they don't want this taught in schools and they don't want that taught in schools. You know, as soon as it comes time for somebody else in the job to get a promotion and they're not getting one and they don't think that the person's worthy, now they're trying to find every reason to go to HR and get them removed. So please, these people keep playing these stupid games, acting like they're out of the know. Oh, I didn't know. Homer, please. It's the first time I done found a Homer I didn't like. You know, Homer Simpson and I were tight like that. Now I'm going to hear Homer get irritated. Freaking Dillard's. Dillard's, y'all should be happy y'all even got customers because I didn't even know y'all were still in business. And y'all didn't had Homer working there for 20 years. That's not the first time he done said that. That's just the first time somebody caught that crap on camera and it went viral. So, you know, I think for the dad, his position was he couldn't show himself being, I guess, a certain way in front of the child because he wants the child to still have somewhat of his innocence because, you know, it'll be nothing like your daddy stumping out somebody at the store and then getting taken out in cuffs. And then, you know, that's a lot already. So sometimes, as much as we want to just bust somebody in the back of the face, I understand logistics of some things. Sometimes it's, you got to be I don't like being a bigger person anymore. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be the bigger person, but man, yeah, Homer, bye. So yeah, Homer, they got rid of Homer. You know, it's petty. I bet you there's a GoFundMe for him and somebody's probably donating money, just like they did for George Zimmerman. How kind of nonsense. All right, read a few comments. I just didn't know. I hurt my knee. And then mind you, Homo's all broke up too. Like he's hunched all over the you know, the little register and everything. Already broke down, but still felt empowered enough to call this big old giant black man N-word to his face. They'd be so bold. But they do that because they feel like they're protected. They are ensured that everything's going to be all right because we're now in a space where there's not a lot of accountability in regards to, especially like white aggression towards black people or anti-black racism or anything else like that. Hell, even January 6th. What's so funny? Now we done seen 30 different hearings and we've seen an impeachment trial and all of this evidence is just being thrown out there. You still have yet to see any real charges against any of the people in charge. Right now, you're seeing the people who were collateral catch the charges and the jail sentences. You know, the ones who went and stormed the Capitol, but the ones who put it all together, ones who arranged everything. I mean, they're ignoring court subpoenas. I'm not going. What you gonna do? You find me in contempt of court? Do it. You know, they talking trash and ain't nobody getting charged. So we're in a space where people just do whatever they want. They know it. And so a lot of people are trying to wait out till November and they pray that, you know, the GOP takes back over. And then it's really just like a free for all. Everybody can do what they want. And this is not to make this a Democrat Republican conversation. I'm not there tonight. But again, there's just this space where a lot of people feel empowered to do a whole lot of foolery because they know that they're supported by a larger power structure. And so, yeah, that's why Homo was that confident. You say that you're at work. Yeah, I hit my knee. I got something else to hit. Anyway. Freaking Homer. That dad was better than me. It's like sitting my spirit right now. I got more to say, but I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna move on. See ya. All right. I'm gonna keep going. Okay, Beyonce. So Beyonce has released her. This is what, the 7th? I think this is the 7th studio album. I think I might be wrong. Renaissance. My thoughts on it. I did like Break My Soul when it dropped. Y'all know I love a good up-tempo. I love some high energy music. If you've been following my R&B is Dead series for like the last 5 years, I've been saying, please, somebody bring back up-tempos, please. So the album I like the album. I like the production on it. I like that it's very high energy. My prediction, because I know that this is Act 1 and she has an Act 2 and an Act 3 coming. My prediction would be like Act 2 would be something more along the lines of what she would do on like a Me, Myself, and I type thing. That's one of my favorite songs by her, by the way, too. I could definitely see her going more of like a contemporary R&B route for Act 2. That's just my prediction. I don't know this stuff at all. And then maybe Act 3 is more along the lines of the more like trap, hip-hop oriented Beyonce that she's been doing for a while, mixed with other things. That would be my theory. Or maybe Act 3 is the greatest hits box set or something. I don't know. If I have favorite songs so far, like I've purposely gone out of my way to stop doing like album reviews when the albums first come out, because sometimes your opinions change. Because I remember I reviewed Lemonade, and then as time progressed, I ended up liking the self-titled album more than Lemonade. It's like, I mean, Lemonade was cool, but I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, let me let albums have time to simmer before we just start going out and giving full out reviews, because who knows how we're going to feel in another 6 months. But right now, the songs that I really liked the Alien Superstar. Let me see, the plastic off the sofa was a good one. I like the vocals on that. Um, the church girl is interesting, but I do like the song. It's fun. The end of the song with the vocal arrangements are really fun. I really like effort in production. I like when I hear songs and I can tell that the song was made with like 60 different tracks, as far as like 60 instrumental tracks, and then there's like hundreds of stacked tracks. I love all that kind of stuff. There's an appreciation for production, so I love that kind of stuff. I like the second half. What was it, Pure and Honey? I guess that half is like the honey part. I like Honey. Thick. I like Thick. Thick is a fun one. That'd be a fun one to do some choreography too, if you like on like a dance troupe or something. Those are the ones that stuck out to me. The album as a whole, I like. I think there's kind of a theme with the sound, and I just like that it's something high energy. Some people don't like it. Some are like, I'm not really into the house thing. If you follow me, I love some New Jack Swing, and I always love the little 80s and 90s house music. So this is right up my alley. This is right up my clean up the house on Saturday mornings kind of energy. I did listen to Drake's as well. Because Drake is kind of on that same wave. But I think I said this on the last live as well. I think the difference, and this is not to try to compare, but I feel like with Drake's, his emphasis is more so just the beats, and then he does his Drake thing on top of the beats. I feel like with this Beyonce project, there is an effort to all aspects of the song. So the production, the vocal arrangements, the lyrics, the delivery of even the sequencing and how the songs kind of flow into each other. I like when albums do that. The Dream does that on a lot of his projects as well, where you'll put the album on and the songs flow into each other. Or like Janelle Monáe's the album that she had in 2010. I forgot what it's called, and something droid, something like that. But all of the songs in that album just flow right into each other. Like people like that kind of stuff. In regards to, because some people were like, what's your thoughts on like everything with Khalees? With Khalees, for me, Khalees, and it's crazy because we literally just kind of talked about this in the Tony Braxton episode in regards to things that happen with artists and their contracts and conversations around publishing and royalties and everything. I think the response that we saw from Khalees is a response from somebody who's been burned by the industry, where they've just gotten the short end of the stick so many times, where finally you kind of just reach your wits end. And so I think multiple things can be true at once. I think, for her argument, she was saying Beyonce could have gave her a heads up. I think this is more of a conversation of legality versus morals, or what's right versus what's legal, and kind of. So I think there's a bunch of different layers to the conversation. And so I don't see fault with Khalees, and I don't see fault with Beyonce either, to be honest. I think with Beyonce's production, she has so many people on those teams anyway. But I think a lot of times she may not be in the room for some of the smaller bits of production that go on behind the scenes. I think she's definitely hands-on. But, the piece that stirred up the controversy is, well, hell, they even took it off title already. And look, I'm glad I bought the album. I got the version that nobody's going to have in another week, because they over here stripping bits out of the album to kind of keep people happy. I don't know. I think I just think Khalees's response is, again, a response to just kind of being frustrated with things in the internet, because it does suck. Like, I think with Pharrell and Chad and the Neptunes, yeah, there's a lot of stuff Khalees wrote that she did not get credit for. So she does have a right to feel some kind of way. I don't know if necessarily she had all the right information before she expressed how she felt. And so now some of the things are kind of looking a little iffy in regards to what's happening. But I don't think Khalees is wrong for having her frustrations. Maybe there could have been a different way to go about it. I don't know. But, that's the industry. Things happen all the time to a lot of folks, sadly. And I think, again, with production and all that, sometimes you get burned by the industry so much. So I think really her smoke is really just the industry. But I think Beyonce was kind of like the sitting duck for her to go after, because it's like, well, she did give you credit and you weren't even credited on the initial song. But, I feel like I'm team both Khalees and Beyonce, because I like Khalees a lot. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But, yeah. Did I write anything else on there? No, not really. Yeah, it's just business woes of the industry. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of artists have to deal with. Go watch my Tony doc, man. I talk about all that. I don't talk about it again. All right, I'm gonna read some comments here. But like I said, I think it's dope that Beyonce, at the age that she's at, still has this much command on the industry, because the industry has had a history of phasing people out. Like, once you hit a certain threshold in age, they try to age you out and say you're no longer relevant. But I think the saving grace in this modern time is now with something like social media. It's the people that determine what's really going to be jumping and what's not in a lot of times because the industry can say we're no longer going to really push or support this artist, but if the people in masses are like we're excited about this, we're pressed about this, then artists can kind of rebuild and create their own narrative. So you're even seeing a lot of entertainers who at one point were considered washed up or has-beens, or maybe they haven't had a hit in years. You're seeing how they're still culturally relevant today, even if they're in their 50s and 60s or late 40s, and they're still going on tours and selling out arenas. And, when they go on different shows, it's the highest rated episode when they go on it, or they're constantly trending. I think right now we're in a space where it's the industry against the people, and the people at this point can now kind of shift the narrative. One of the things that sucks if you were an entertainer from, probably before 2010, is once the industry pushed you out, that was it. And that also played a role into regards of you touring, where you could barely book venues because, promoters were like, oh, you just don't have it anymore. You're no longer somebody that's a viable, entity in regards to bringing in revenue. And so with social media, which kind of keeps, because I don't think music has an age, and I don't think music ages out. I think music will always, if it sounds good, there's always a place for it. I told this story before. The first time I heard Michael Jackson's PYT, I was probably like 9 or 10 years old, and I thought it was a new song. I didn't realize it was a song from like 1982, and at the time it was like 1998 or whatever. I just happened to hear it, and I was like, that song's fun. Like, oh, I like this, and I had no idea that it was like a song from before I was even born. But it's the way that it sounded. Or even like I remember watching Soul Food, the movie, and that was the first time I heard Earth, Wind and Fire's September, because the movie opens with them at the wedding reception, and September's playing, and September is just this fresh, bright song with the brass instruments and the live instrumentation and all the men singing in the falsetto, and it's just a feel-good song. And so I had no idea that it's this song from the 70s. I thought it came out in 98 as well. And so the point that I'm getting at is, like, I think music has no expiration date, unless you're talking about the kind of tools that are used in the music. Sometimes different drum kits and stuff can kind of be dated if they represent a certain era or a certain trend, and then they phase out. But in regards to music that is genuinely just all around, good, there's no age limit on that. And so I think we're now in a space where you're seeing a lot of songs. That's why TikTok always has a reemergence of a lot of songs. Or even like before TikTok, remember when like Ghost Town DJ's My Boo became a thing again, because the Gen Z kids started the whole Running Man trend to that song. And so even when I was still with the kids, half the kids thought that was a new song. I was like, yo, that song was out when I was like 8. And so again, I think you're kind of seeing a lot of different shifts take place. So I think it's dope that somebody like Beyonce, can still command what she commands. I was reading that she's projected to, of course, be number 1 on Billboard 200. Of course, that was a given. And so, yeah, I think it's dope. And so, good on her. And I hope other artists have the same kind of resources to put the same kind of effort into their projects as well, because I think there's a lot of really great artists out there. Some just don't really get the same backing. But to also be fair, look, Beyonce put in her 20 years. So that's why she's in a space where she can do what she does now, because she put in a whole lot, sacrificed childhood and everything else like that. And remember the dark ages of the Beyonce years where people didn't like her. So from like 2000 to about 2002, they used to fry her up in the Mad TV skits, and there were like "We Hate Beyonce" web pages because they had smoke for her in regards to what happened with Destiny's Child. And then Survivor dropped and people didn't like the album because they thought it was too, Beyonce used to catch it. So good for her for a comeback. And I ain't mad at her. I like watching people do a whip around. That's why I be going hard for Janet. I'm like, yeah, y'all tried to counter out back between like 04 and 09, and now everybody wants to ride her coattails. Well, where were y'all when we needed y'all? Anyway, all right, that's my thoughts on Beyonce. Let's see. Somebody said "Heat It All Up in Your Minds." They like. Somebody said the honey part was really good. I like something with a good thump. You got a good thump, I'm gonna play it. Like I guess I was a kid that just grew up on up tempos. I think I'm obsessed with up tempos because in those early years when I was like 2, 3, 4 years old, that was like, and maybe even almost 5. That was like the peak of New Jack Swing and like house music, like really being the commercial sounds and like R&B music and stuff like that. So I'm just so used to always, So I still want that. But I will say, I hope the industry does not do this thing where now everybody's going to hop on that same trend. We need to have multiple trends out at the same time. My biggest critique of music has always been, once a trend comes out, it's the only trend for years. So like 2013, 2014, 2015, I remember I was saying, I kind of like this kind of vibe thing, and it's kind of cool. I like the chords and it was cool. And then 2016, 2017 came. I was like, oh, we still vibing. Okay, this is cool, but I hope we gonna mix it up soon. I hope we mix it up real soon. Got the 2018, 2019, 2020. We were still vibing. I'm like, hell, we in the pandemic. Y'all still vibing? We vibing. Okay. Yeah, all right. Then we got to 2021. They still vibing. Okay, here we go. Oh, this sounds lit. I was like, dang, mix it up. So hopefully, we get a bunch of different trends. I like to see kind of what Beyonce already did become something. I like to see even newer sounds that maybe we haven't heard yet find its way out there. I just like to see everything mixed up. Give us some variety, some choices. All right. I want music to feel like the vending machine when I go there. I don't know if I want C3 or B2 or F1 or I'm gonna get all of them. Just hit all the buttons and shake the machine and let everything come down. Like that's what I want. I don't want to go to a vending machine and the only thing that's there is freaking Milky Ways because that's some nasty candy. That is like the bottom tier chocolate bar out of all the candy bars. Milky Ways, I don't understand the No, actually, I take it back. Milky Way, you can stay. It's the Three Musketeers. That's what's nasty. Milky Way at least got a little caramel or caramel, whatever you want to call it, at the top. But them Three Musketeers, I don't know what that crap is inside of the chocolate. That little purple, gray looking matter. Yeah, just imagine going to a vending machine and the only thing in the machine is all freaking not Milky Way. Well, them two, they going to be in the other machine on the other side across the hall. The whole thing is freaking Three Musketeers. You want to see me fight somebody? Let me go to a vending machine, and that's the only thing they got to offer, and I haven't eaten all day. Anyway, let me keep reading. Oh, I forgot. Oh, somebody said I Love America Has a Problem. I like the song. I like the production on that. My only beef, I just knew that was going to be a song where she was going in on everybody. I was ready. I was coming in there to march ready like we about to drag. It was none of that. It's okay, though. Thank you, people, Janelle Monáe fans who corrected me. Arch Android, that's what it was called. That's a really great album, too. My favorite song on that, and this is the Janelle Monáe album, Faster and Neon Valley Street were my two favorite songs off that album. Really great album. It was very, Janelle Monáe, all of her stuff is very underrated. Like, I don't think she has one bad album. Even like the early EPs and everything. What was that song I used to love? I Can't Believe Love Just Passed Me By. What is that crap? What is it called? I don't remember what it's called. But it reminded me of like it like predates like a John Legend Green Light. Was that Green Light? I'm ready to go right now. Dang, I can't remember what that song is called. But that was like one of my favorite songs. Or even like Letting Go. Like she has some really great material. So all right. By the way, I didn't appreciate everybody dragging Khalees the way y'all did. That was unnecessary. Especially folks who already weren't a part of the in-house conversation that kind of came from the outside, started trying to talk trash. Some of y'all need to mind y'all business. Stay out of black folks' business, okay? Somebody says, Queen says, so what's the best way? Credit and contact the artist? See, with the thing with Beyonce and Khalees, like, I personally I don't know. I don't have an opinion on it because I feel like there's no right or wrong way to answer that. Because legally, you don't have to. If you've already gotten the permissions from the producers and the writers and the people that are credited, boom, there it is. On the moral aspect of it, it's like, well, maybe you could give a heads up. But most people listening, if you didn't see that Khalees was credited on there, you would have never known that there was even an what did he say? Interpolation, whatever they call it, of the song. Like you would have never caught it anyway. So I don't know. And I don't think Beyonce and Khalees had that kind of relationship anyway. It would be different if it was like they were friends. I don't think they were friends or anything like that. I don't know. I just think there's varying ways of doing things. And I think even with a lot of entertainers who make music and maybe it almost references another song or pays homage to another song, sometimes like the conversation of like performance royalties and all those different things, I just think it's a layered conversation. But all I'll say is it brings out stan groups. Stan groups will come out there and start dragging everybody. That's what I'm like, all right. I don't know. I like Khalees, so I've never had a problem with her. But actually, I might have to play Khalees tonight. I'm gonna play what's that? Is that the song? Is it Mars? That's the one I really like. It's off Kaleidoscope. My favorite album was Wonderland. That was the one that wasn't even released in the US. Because that one had like Digital World and what else was on there? Mr. UFO Man. That was a nice album. My favorite Khalees song. What's that one? I know we talk about Beyonce, but Khalees can get her flowers too while we here. I forgot about the Khalees Was Here album. That was a good one too. That came out my freshman year of college. Hell, Khalees, your stuff ain't even on here. Damn, took your albums down. What happened? Uh, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, here we go. Oh, it is Mars. Yeah, that's my favorite song off that album. And In the Morning. Anyway, I got some other stories we got to talk about. Oh, Keith said, "Oh, the Will Smith apology." Oh, I forgot all about him. Um, I guess you know I was already Team Will when all that happened anyway, so it is what it is. I think a lot of people did the most in regards to what happened with all of that. People like to pretend what they want to be outraged about, so it was like you saw Will Smith catch more outrage than the Morgan Wallen dude for what he did. So I was like, all right, um, I don't know. I think a lot of these entertainers have all kind of internal things they deal with, and sadly, because they are in the public eye all the time, we get to witness them in their not so great moments when they are emotionally vulnerable and maybe not as well thought out as they would like to be, and so they step outside of their character, and we get to witness it because they're public figures. And sadly, we witness, the public backlash and everything else that comes with it. So there's a territory when you are constantly famous, and it is what it is. Um, he was slick though. Look, Will did his apology while Beyonce's album came out. He look, ain't nobody talking about it either. He said, "Let me go ahead and sneak this apology in real quick while y'all talk about Beyonce." Hmm. And I don't think he needs to apologize anymore. He had already did it. In my opinion, it is what it is. Um, Let him and Chris ride the wave of it. It'll definitely give a boost to both of them and keep it moving. Somebody said Neil and his wife. Y'all, I don't even be following half these celebrities like that. As far as Neil and his wife, I don't follow those two. But I read that she done left him. But didn't he, with the other girl from before, the last wife, he had the woman get her tubes tied because he ain't want kids, just to have three kids with the current wife or the current ex-wife? To each his own. I think he has an album coming out. But yeah, I don't follow a lot of these celebrities as much. Okay. How much stuff I got? Oh, I will say if you get a chance, check out Drink Champs. That Patti LaBelle episode was actually really entertaining. We were listening to that when we were coming back from the beach Sunday. Patti LaBelle is a really dope person. There's some people who just always have a good energy every time you see them. I don't think there's anybody who dislikes Patti LaBelle as a person because I don't think she's ever done anybody wrong that I know about. But no, that was a really fun interview to listen to. Really dope. Definitely appreciate these people while they are still here. And for her to be 78 and be so energetic and down to earth and just, yeah, that was really dope. It would be really cool to meet somebody like her. I've seen her a few times live. I've never like personally met her. Um, but yeah, if I ever had like some celebrity connections, I'll definitely call and ask, and she cook for me too. All right, I do want to talk about this young boy, Troy Kohler. This was the 7-year-old that was reported missing. Let me read the article real quick or the tidbits from it. All right. The parents of 7-year-old Troy Kohler had reported him missing on Thursday morning, July 28th, only to find the child hours later at his home, dead inside of a washing machine. The parents reported Kohler missing to the Harris County law enforcement around 5:20 a.m. Thursday, saying he was last seen in the Burnham Wood neighborhood, a subdivision in Spring just north of Houston. ABC Houston station reported Harris County homicide investigators arrived later that morning at the home to interview the parents and search the home. Investigators discovered Kohler dead and fully clothed in the top load washing machine in the garage around 7:20 a.m. on Thursday. The lieutenant with the Harris County Sheriff's Office told media that he couldn't say whether the lid was opened or closed. Investigators were working to confirm if Kohler, a foster child, was adopted by the family in 2019. No other children live in the home. The parents were not named and were detained and taken to the sheriff's office for further interrogation. A relative told media that they found out what happened to the 7-year-old boy through the news and were blindsided and heartbroken by what happened. Spring ISD confirmed that Kohler was a student in the district. One of his former teachers told media that he was a bright kid who was full of energy. Let me see. And so with the details, he was missing for about 2 to 3 hours. And they also did not release whether or not he was found wet or dry as far as like the clothing. The thing that gets me, and again, I can't even give a full opinion because I don't even have all the details because they're not really releasing a lot of things. There's always going to be a place in my heart for kids that are either adopted or in the foster care system. And I say that from experience because, like I've told you, my brother is technically adopted. there's an experience that many of them will always have where even though they are loved and they have supporting families and everything else like that, there's still a void that will always be there where there's the questions of who and what and where and why in regards to their initial family member or the maternal or paternal family and everything like that. And so when I hear stories of like children that have already had to go through the foster care system or go through the adoptive process and then they're still abused or something happens, it gets under my skin. It kind of goes back to Javante Hart, and I'm not going to talk about him again because we bring him up every time. But it's just like I hate that children are collateral to, decisions by adults. Now, some are saying it could have just been an accident. He climbed in it and died somehow. But I think a 7-year-old climbing inside of a washing machine, mm, I feel like a 7-year-old is capable enough to get out of the machine, unless it's a machine that locks when you turn it on, but you wouldn't be able to turn it on if you're inside the machine. So things like that, I don't know. And again, they haven't released the details as far as whether the lid was up or the lid was down, or whether he was found wet or whether he was found dry. Um, I think we're going to get a lot more details that come out, and we're going to start looking at people very questionably. But I just think it sucks, and it's sad because they're not even really talking about this one in the media. Like I had to read about this one; I didn't see it on anything. But I just think if you're going to take on the responsibility of adopting a child, understand that they're already coming to you from a place of uncertainty because their entire experience is not that of someone who had the luxury or the privilege to grow up and know who their family is or really have a sense of self and identity that wasn't crafted by whoever their adopted family was. And so if you take on someone, like, man, do right by these kids, man. That's some messed up stuff. Especially like I'm not against adopting because I definitely see myself after I have my own kids, definitely like adopting, but I think I want to actually adopt like older kids, like the teenagers, because nobody ever, you go to the foster system, they only want the babies and the kids that are like under 3. They don't want to go and get the kids that are like 13 or 14, and then those kids end up pushed out of the system once they become adults, and a lot of them become homeless. And so, if I were ever to adopt, I would consider taking in a teenager or two. But I don't know. That thing is just sad. I just think kids deserve to have their innocence and to live. I think that goes back to the situation with the dad at Dillard's. And I think maybe that's why the dad handled the situation the way he did. Just because he still wanted that 10-year-old son to still have some element of innocence in it. But again, it's hard to do that because Homer done messed that up already. Like the kid knows that word is at this point. Um, I don't know. Interesting. I'm gonna read some comments and we're gonna keep it going. Oh, Ayana J said, and this is about Neil. She said, yeah, he lied and said he was going to get a vasectomy too. Oh, so he didn't even do the thing, and then he made her go and burn her too. Oh, all right, okay. Um, Eric Brunson said, running down the street naked is a slip up, but slapping a black man on a nationally televised show is criminal. Um, SF said, did you see the TD Jakes clip about? Oh, I forgot about that about black women. Well, I see he's catching smoke now. I don't get. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't understand why, and maybe this is why I don't be in a whole lot of relationships. Maybe I'm one to talk, but I don't understand why there's such an insecurity about if you are with a woman who has her own, meaning she has a career or she has been able to successfully climb the ranks and do what she needs to do. Like I feel like that's a good thing. I feel like that way when you're in a partnership, you can both support each other. I don't understand why so many feel like a woman has to dumb herself down to be in a happy relationship. Like if you're with me, I don't want you to dumb yourself down and keep me at peace and keep me happy. We're supposed to learn from each other, grow from each other. And when I think to like even my parents, my mother was the breadwinner for years. Like, but both of my parents were in the military. My dad got out. My mom, and then he ended up working at the window factory. My mom was still in the military. She was the breadwinner for years. But what was interesting, my mother still knew how to support my father and ensure that like he was still like the man of the house. Where as children, we still had to respect. Well, one, we didn't know who was making what. That wasn't our business. But my mother never put what she made or what she brought to the table. Y'all remember that phrase. Um, it was never something she rubbed in my father's face. And then as I got older and then times shifted, and then my father came into his career and actually ended up making more than her, it was never a power struggle of who is what. It was, they always had everything as like a partnership. I think a lot of folks are intimidated by the idea of feeling less than if you're not able to provide or be the main breadwinner. And I think that's something you have to just work on internally. I feel like in a healthy relationship, if both of y'all are doing what y'all got to do, even if one is making more than the other, it shouldn't be an issue. Like if the relationship is really what it is, or he or she makes you feel the way that you feel in regards to like a space of euphoria and happiness, then why are you latching on to like petty things? I'm not going to be intimidated if I meet somebody that has like 2 terminal degrees and I just got my little dusty bachelor's. Like I'm not going to feel some kind of way about that, because that's like, okay, dope. Now I got somebody I can learn from as well. We can feed off of each other's energy, because everybody has something another person doesn't have. It's kind of like, this is so left field, but like my brother and I, it's interesting because he's an Aquarius, I'm a Leo. I'm not that into astrology, but I do know that like Leos and Aquarius are like polar opposites, but not in a bad way. It's more so just what one has, the other doesn't, and vice versa. And so that's probably why he and I have this very interesting dynamic of a brotherhood. But like, I just think, I don't know. I don't get why people break their necks to try to like shut folks down for wanting to have their, people should be able to have goals and dreams. You know what I mean? Your goal should not just be to be in a relationship. That's great. But I feel like the relationship should accompany the things that you already wanted to do in life anyway. And you found somebody special to do those things with. And now you guys are both helping each other build each other up. It shouldn't be a, you got to stay down here because I have to feel elevated. Even if I'm not carrying my weight, because I'm this, I have to still be here because I'm the king of the castle. So you're going to have to make me treat me like Cain. Listen, that's some nonsense. I'm sorry. You ain't got to agree. This is why I don't follow a lot of like the relationship gurus. This is why there were certain platforms I didn't entertain or engage with, because I wasn't, nope, absolutely not. People could do whatever they want to do, eat to each his own. But I just think a healthy relationship has to be in a space where both people can thrive. It shouldn't be something where you want, like, sometimes I hear this phrase where it's like, oh, you got to humble. I'm like, why do you have to humble the person you're trying to build with? You know, I understand if it's a situation where they're just not a good person and they're constantly, you know, they're super, super cocky and they make terrible decisions that negatively affect everybody. But if they are like just trying their best and they're a good person and, you know, they're just doing what they got to do to get there where they want to be, why do you want to humble and break them down? That's not healthy. That's more of like you got to issue control and manipulation. That's almost one step. Next, you're going to be knocking them upside the head. Anyway, I'm going to keep it moving. Oh, Amanda Kadima said the fact that Alec Baldwin bashed Will Smith, considering he shot 2 people in the movie, this you literally kill somebody and still have time to want to talk about Will Smith. Nobody asked you anything. Anything. Like, you don't get to talk. You killed somebody. You just got to be quiet. And not only that, you killed somebody doing some dumb stuff over here playing around with the prop guns, and somehow the prop gun was actually loaded and somebody died. Like, you don't get to talk. All right. Just be quiet. It's kind of like even with the R. Kelly situation where the sister was like, one of the sisters was saying, you know, that there was a ploy to get R. Kelly, blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at the sister like, but you are the one that did you know what to him as a child. And you probably indirectly play a role as to why he became the person he was as an adult. And so maybe you need to sit this one out too, ma'am. Anyway. Somebody said, when I tell you YouTube be playing with notifications, I don't know. People keep telling me that all the time. Just make sure you hit the little, hit the bell button. That's supposed to give you notifications when I do something. I guess I'm terrible because I never like promote my channel. I'm never like the person that starts the video and is like, remember to subscribe, like, and hit that like button. I tell y'all to subscribe at the very end if you've made it through my 2-hour rant. But yeah. Ayana J said it's giving Kendrick Johnson. I forgot. Yeah, that case still haunts me. That one doesn't. They be playing in our faces. Like, you got the kid rolled up in the gym mat and everything. Y'all gonna tell me he done climbed in there and died, and then y'all find the body and there's no organs. There's newspaper. The video footage is missing. It's just, they be playing these games, man. Now this is where them conspiracy theory folks be jumping in. I understand sometimes. Goodness. No Name Face said, even a machine that locks will open if you push it. It sounds like it. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these gadgets and devices are specifically crafted to ensure that even if somebody ends up in them, they can find their way out. Like, even like, say you got kidnapped and they put you in the trunk of a car. Most cars, you literally, inside of the trunk, there's that glow in the dark little tab that lets you know where the little trunk thing is to pop the trunk open. And in addition to that, there's the little pamphlet things you can pull to the side to play with the little backlights to make them go in and out. And God willing, the person gets pulled over or something, and you start banging on that trunk to get out. Like something doesn't add up. The details are going to come out with that case. Just give it a minute. All right. Y'all going in on the comments. I don't even want to know who y'all cussing out. Soraya Lon said, he said a man raising women / girls makes them less feminine. Wait, what? He said men raising women / girls makes them less feminine. I don't agree with that. They just be saying anything. Tired of hearing that nonsense. Whatever. I don't follow a lot of these people, to be honest. Don Worthy can always give me a good comment. Leading is not tied to finances, but many believe that it is. But I think that that is an issue of inferred power by the finances that isn't real, though. Let me see. Somebody said those weren't his sisters. I don't know what that was about. I forgot whatever that comment is. What sisters are we talking about? Those aren't his biological sisters. Did I talk about somebody's sisters? I can't remember. All right. Let me scroll up. I don't know what y'all talk about with the sisters. It'll come to me later. Oh, okay, R. Kelly. I got you. Okay, so that wasn't the sister. That wasn't his sister that was talking on that interview that I saw. Okay, y'all say so. All right. But I know his own sister did. Well, then who are the women? So the women, so they went and pretended to be the sisters and got a whole interview with the media. Somebody clear that up for me, please. Whatever. Okay, anyway. Y'all making sure y'all got this together. Oh, they're just claiming to be. See, folks always okay. Oh, somebody was asking me my thoughts about. There was a story coming out of Italy where it showed like the random Nigerian man being attacked and pretty much killed on the street, like in broad daylight. I've already told you anti-blackness is global, and even when I lived in Italy, there were problems there. Now, like I lived in like the Veneto region, which is northern Italy, so that's like I live specifically in Vicenza, and like Vicenza is about 40 minutes from Venice, and there's like another area called like Padova, and I'm starting to forget some of these areas. Verona, I don't think was in Veneto, but I remember then, if you were African, you were treated horribly there. Now, if you were a Black American, they treated you a little bit better because they figured you were probably a military family and most likely you had a little bit of money, so you could go into the stores. But like a lot of those stores in that neighborhood I lived in, Africans were not allowed in the stores. And when you go to like Venice and everything like that, you see like the vendors and stuff trying to sell, the purses and the jewelry and stuff, and the people like they would not entertain those people at all. And a lot of them also weren't eligible to live in certain housing. It's interesting because I know we talk about like redlining here, but even over there were like areas where they were not allowed to live, and a lot of them lived in like gypsy encampments and everything like that. And so, like I said, anti-blackness is global. Like Italy is Europe, just because they want to push and paint the narrative of being a little bit more progressive than the U.S., they still have their issues with racism as well. That's why you look at all those soccer matches where the Black players be getting bananas thrown at them and everything else like that. Like y'all already done went and imported these players, and now you want to throw bananas at them. Or like the black lady that was like a government official in Italy, and how she had to always deal with a bunch of nonsense and smoke all the time. Just understand that stuff is universal. It's not just in the United States. Like, man, I'm trying to think. I didn't really have a lot of bad experiences as a child. I do remember one time being in Venice, and this is what, remember those little toys where you push the thing and the picture would turn like, and you could look at them and stuff like that. I do remember like being in Venice in like St. Marco's Square, and there was like a lady with like a little stand, and she had those little camera things hanging off the thing. And so I remember I was like looking at the camera from the while it was still on the stand. That lady lit into me, like pretty much told me to put stuff down because you're still a blah 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 blah. I couldn't understand everything because she said it all in Italian, but I knew where that energy was coming from, and I was like, oh, okay. But that would have been like the only real experience I had. Or I remember my mama had finger waves at the time, but she had like the finger wave, like, black church ladies used to do the finger waves that was in like the French roll bun thing, so it was high. And I remember we were at Gardaland, which is kind of like the Italian Disneyland, Six Flags type thing. And all them Italian women kept looking back and laughing at her hair. And I was getting mad because I was like, Mama, you're not gonna say nothing. And she's like, ain't nobody think about them. She just mad. They just mad the hair's thin. It's like, oh, okay. But like small things like that, like microaggressions. But I mean, globally, there's nowhere to go where you're gonna escape anti-blackness. I think the scary part with that situation is like he was literally like it was broad daylight in front of everybody, and nobody else really went to help, and they pretty much just choked the man out. I don't know the details of what started that, and then the officials are trying to say it wasn't racially motivated; it was a robbery. Y'all say so, I guess. I also want to say some rest in peace moments because we definitely have three. They always go in threes because you had Mary Alice, you had Michelle Nichols, and you had Bill Russell, who all passed away. But I will say, I think the good thing is when you get to see people live to, get to their 80s. I think in those moments, it's not even sad when they go because at that point, they've done everything they wanted to do. They've been able to live a full life. And you got to see them like just reach all the milestones they want to reach. I think for me, it's sadder when people unexpectedly pass at younger ages. They die before 70 years old. Stuff like that is like super sad. But I think for those three, those are some legacies to leave behind, especially Bill Russell in regards to everything he was able to accomplish with the NBA. And again, like Michelle Nichols, as far as like, Star Trek, I always think of that clip from Truck Turner. That might not be the clip y'all want to remember her by, but and then what's that movie she was in? Oh, she was in one of the Tyler Perry movies too, and a bunch of other stuff. And then Mary Alice, I always remember her as the Den mother on Different World. So I think because they got to live full lives, it's not even sad that they passed. It's kind of like you just tell them thank you and you keep it moving. Thank you for your contributions. And hopefully people can carry on the different legacies. The only thing that makes me sometimes nervous when some of these people pass on is when they pass on, the stories go with them. You know what I mean? Like one of the things I wish I would have done with my grandma, but I didn't realize she was going to die at 71. And then my other grandma died in her 50s. I wish I could have like just sat and just talked and asked as many questions as possible about like our family from her childhood onward. Because like I think I told you on a few lives, me and my cousin Tiffany have been trying to go through and trace the lineage, and we're stalled at 1881. Like we cannot get past 1881. And it's like, dang, man, all the people that would have known this, they done passed on. They passed on and took the recipes with them. Like, dang, we're losing the recipes, y'all. So it's like, man, so things like that. And even with my step grandma that just died in March. Fortunately, like when I went to visit them in November, I read in my phone, I'm not gonna play it, but like I just had my phone on record like the whole time I was there. So like she would just randomly tell me all these stories about growing up in the Delta. And she was just telling me all these stories. And it was interesting because she was telling me the stories as if it was the last time she was going to tell them, like she knew she was about to pass on. So I'm glad I happened to record those and save those. Because she gave me a good like 2 or 3 hours worth of conversation about just all kind of things and like waking up and making a little salmon croquet cakes in the morning and all that kind of stuff. Things like that that pass on with different generations. And so embrace and enjoy these people while they're here with us. I'm telling you, because once they're gone, they're gone. Especially when it comes to your relatives like parents or like grandparents. No matter how much they may get on your nerves, when they're gone, they're gone. So work out whatever y'all got to work out if it's feasible or if it's healthy. I'm not telling you to go to no relationship if it was something toxic and it's for your own peace. But if y'all just not speaking because of some little petty stuff, go on and work it out. Because when these people are gone, that's it. Anyway, I don't know what is in the water with all these people and this violence. And then I saw the clip of the guy, Mark Hall, out of Mississippi. He was stupid enough to upload a clip of him trying to run over them black kids on the bikes. And he thought that crap was funny. Well, they've arrested him at this point. But it goes back to what I was saying in regards to, again, folks thinking they're protected and that they can just do any and everything and nothing is going to happen. Like, that's kind of the nonsense we're starting to see. And the fact that you would upload that, like, and of course, he's called them all kind of N-words and everything else. Folks just hate to see black people having a good time. It gets them stressed out, just triggered. They can't stand it. Because again, we're in a space where a lot of people feel like they've lost something because other people may have a little bit of something. And mind you, it's the bare minimum. But even with folks getting the bare minimum, it's too much for other folks to sit through and witness. And now they feel like they've lost the country. They've lost their way. And we just got to combat and bring America back to the way it used to be. And it's like, whatever. Okay, I'll be on some nonsense. Anyway, let's check out the comments. I'm gonna have to bring the energy back up. We got all sad on here. Let me see what else I wrote down. I got a few other things to talk about too. Oh, y'all still on this R. Kelly? All right. JDG said, I just watched a documentary about Kendrick Johnson. Talk about infuriating. Can you tell me what the documentary is called? Because I don't think I've seen it. So let me know. Thank y'all for clearing up this R. Kelly thing. I really thought that was the sisters. They done went and did all that. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, Jenkins, Pretty Melanin. Did they ever figure out how the girl died in the hotel freeze in Chicago? That was what, Kanika Jenkins. There was an article that came out maybe a year ago. Let me see. I hope I said the name right. Um, Updates. Let's see what the updates were. Um, Officially ruled an accident. Hmm. Her mother and friends later said they believe otherwise. They believe foul play was involved. I still think so as well. Um, yeah, police reports revealed new details into Kanika Jenkins' mysterious death. What year is this from? This is from. If y'all remember, that was the girl who was at the hotel party with her friends, and somehow she ended up in the freezer and died. I think that was 2017, 18, maybe when it happened. Um, Last week came an autopsy that revealed Jenkins died from hypothermia from exposure to cold conditions. Along with that came a toxology report and found that alcohol, caffeine, and an epilepsy migraine medication in Jenkins' system. The Cook County medical examiner concluded her death was an accident. Teresa Martin, Jenkins' mother, renewed protests against the hotel a couple of weeks back. She also called for the authorities to release the tape, referring to the hotel surveillance footage that showed Jenkins staggering around the hotel before making her way into the kitchen where the freezer was. The renewed protest follows the public funeral that took place for Jenkins recently. Okay, so this must be some years back, as far as this article, in which over 1,000 people attended. And less than a week after Martin called for the protest to stop after she claimed that an activist close to the demonstrations was profiting off her daughter's death. These people always doing some stuff. People be trifling. You can't even mourn somebody trying to get a check. Kind of nonsense. Um. Anyway. Um. Regazza Bella 85 said Naples was very similar but worse. I don't think I ever was at. I'd never been to Naples before. I never went that far south. I don't think. I know there was a Navy base down there that some of the people used to go to. Incredible said. Actually, never mind. All right, let's keep going. That was still on the same thing we just covered. J Dub, what said? What new R&B songs are you listening to? I'm not really listening to anything new right now. I've been trying to finish some other stuff, so I have not had a lot of time to really sit and listen. I did listen to Flow, that girl group that came out, their EP. I think their EP is nice. I like that Immature song. Um, that's probably honestly it. I haven't really had a chance to really go and dig through a lot of stuff. Most of what I've been playing is the throwbacks, pretty much. Um, I will get back into more of the newer stuff when it's like I don't know. Once I finish some other things, because I just haven't had the same amount of time to really sit and indulge in a lot of things, because I'm trying to really like meet some deadlines. So once I meet some deadlines and get closer to what I need to do, then yeah, I'll have some time to really just sit and really like just decipher through a bunch of different projects. But yeah, I've really been playing like a lot of throwback stuff as usual. Like I've told you, I've been on my Tony train for like 5 months now. Me and my friend just saw them like 2 weeks ago, even though we were like, you realize Raphael Sadiq ain't in the group no more, right? I was like, they're not. And then we're like, oh, Dwayne Wiggins ain't in the group either. So I was like, well, who are we seeing? So I mean, they had some of the original Tonys up there and some other folks, but it was still a good show. Um, I always like seeing black people dress up because that was an older crowd. That was like the whole crowd was like 40 and over, but they were all just dressed up. I love seeing like black couples go up and just get it in. So that was still fun. Um, all right. Anna J said yes. The step grandma with the hoghead cheese. LOL. I love that podcast story. Yes, that was step grandma Opal with the hoghead cheese. You have to listen to the podcast to know what we're talking about. Um, Nan Nelson, oh, this is a good comment, said maybe the Freedmen's Bureau records can help. So the issue we're running into now, how do I tell the story without giving y'all all of our last names? Somehow, what we do know in the backstory is my grandmother her mother died from TB when my grandma was 4. But my mother, or this is my great grandmother. My great grandmother had already been like outcasted from the family because they didn't like who she married. Like she married this man named Calvin. That's not me, but that's where my name comes from. And somehow there was a split within the family, and then there was also some discrepancy where the last names were different because one set of last names were spelled one way, and then the other set had an S at the end, and so that's been kind of running us into problems because there's two different last names. There's this name, and then there's the same name with an S at the end. Somebody didn't spell something wrong, and I think I told y'all before. There's a conversation about some of the people in the family losing heirs land where pretty much a developer came and got somebody to sign some papers and that person couldn't read at the time because it was like the early 1900s and they lost all of this land. And then in addition to that, conversation of eminent domain where now like some of this land that the family did have is a part of a military installation. And so I have an aunt that's been trying to figure out the litigation to get that squared away. Like it's going to be a few years to get that figured out. Man. All right, let's see. Man, this chat be scrolling and dropping. I be like reading and then it updates while I'm trying to look at it. Oh, Ebon shot. Man, let me tell you about Boston. He said, yeah, you read the article detailing the racism Bill Russell went through while playing for Boston, pinned by his daughter. It's insane. That man made them a dynasty, and that's how they think that Boston. I don't know what's up with Boston. Like Boston already has a history of some nonsense, but yeah, the stuff that man had to go through, because you already know, like they've already had a history of just being like a very racist city, at least since even when Jordan was playing by then, when it was like Jordan versus what's his name, Bird and all that, or Johnson versus Bird and all that. Like, it was still bad that, and even when they traded Avery Bradley, like he got traded, and then all them Celtics fans was cussing Avery Bradley out. I'm like, how you gonna cuss him out for getting traded? He didn't ask to be traded. Y'all moved him. Y'all shipped him off, and you shipped off Isaiah Thomas or whatever. Then you gonna cuss them out. And mind you, like what pissed me off with that was like Isaiah Thomas had just lost his sister. Like his sister had just died, and he still played for that raggedy team. I'm sorry, y'all. He still played for the team like a few days after his sister had just died. And then here y'all go trying to trash the people because they got traded. Like the thing I don't like about sports is that the fans think they own the players. That crap pisses me off so much. But no, Boston has always been, the whole state has been off the chain, especially some of them stories coming out of New Bedford. Anyway, mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. Still sitting there. I don't know if you just saw that clip. That clip just because it's like it's Avery and it's Isaiah, and they're sitting on the bench, and poor Isaiah is crying his eyes out. And Avery's trying to rub his back and everything, and they still got to play. I was like, you're so dedicated. I had to check myself because I remember when my father died, I still went to work the next day because there was a grant that we had like a site visit from somebody from a grant, and I was the only person that knew the information, so I still came in. Like my dad hadn't even been dead for 8 hours. I was at work. I was like, this is crazy. Anyway, sometimes I wouldn't do that today if that were the same thing, but um, whatever. Ms. Nuru, you and I are on the same page. They straight slept on Raphael Sadiq's latest album. So emotional. I love it. It's a really great album. Especially Something Keeps Calling still has this really fresh sound, like almost 2 years later. I love that song. Raphael's extremely talented. Avocado Queen, yes, I did talk about the Airbnb already. Oh, let me get to this old preacher that got robbed. Did I write him down? Must be my phone. Where did I put it at? Well, long story short, I don't know where I put the thing at, but y'all have seen the clip where there's the preacher that got robbed on like the live stream of the church service where the people come in and robbed him. And so, can I say he's a very interesting person? Now, from what I understand, he does real estate. That's why he has what he has. Something doesn't add up with any of this to me. One, if you see what the church looks like, it's one of them churches that look like they got about 20 members. But I mean, he has like the Rolls Royce, and then he's very interesting because he likes to show what he has. So I saw the clip of him showing like his prayer closet, and the closet is bigger than my whole apartment. And I mean, I saw the bit about the family that was saying he stole $90,000 from the ladies' retirement fund. At first, I thought what happened was if the robbery happened, it was people coming back to get the money that he even stole from him. But I don't know. He's interesting. Then I saw the clip of him cussing out the other YouTube person. I don't know the guy's name, but calling him, all kind of terms, including the F word, like calling him that word, which I thought was totally out of pocket and not even appropriate. And then going in on the other co-host about her weight and everything. And I'm like, what kind of preacher is this? Then he done cussed him out. I said, all right, be careful with some of the people that y'all follow. Like he, to me, is someone, again, he loves the idea of attention and praise and latching onto the vulnerabilities of others to elevate himself. That's the energy that I get from it. And he seems very just pressed to want to have consistent like clout and attention. Those are not the people you should be following behind for your own spiritual guidance. I'm not going to tell y'all how to believe or to believe or whatever you believe, but understand if the person that you are aligning behind is all about them, themselves, and they, then you might need to reevaluate if that's the kind of person you need to follow behind. But I think there's going to be more stuff that comes out with him because something ain't right in the water over there with that at all. Like absolutely not. And I think you're just seeing a lot of folks who are pretty much scammers, and they prey on the vulnerabilities of other people who are in a space where they've reached wits end with life, or just some people just really have a crappy deck of cards, and there's nothing good that ever happens, and they're constantly just being hit by all kind of roadblocks and hurdles and hardship. And so they find a space that they think they can go to that will give them just enough energy to get through the week. Some people look at the idea of going to church as it's just a refill so I can make it through the week for some folks. And then you have people who take advantage of that, and you take all the people money, and you want this much for tithes, and you want this much for that, and everything else, and then the church and the members over here broken, struggling, and you in the freaking Rolls Royce. Like, I don't know. It kind of goes back to like the Creflo Dollar guy. I know I was reading something where he's like, he's had a change of heart and how he does everything. And he was telling the congregation, all of the books I wrote in the past, if they're talking about tithing and all that, just throw it all out because I've seen the light. I don't do that no more. I'm like, yeah, after your net worth is $40 million, now you want to see the light. You gonna give back some of that money while you asked the people for a $69 million jet? You already knew the congregation didn't have any money, and you made them raise $69 million for a private jet because you claim you need a jet to go and do your ministries around the world. But in reality, if you had raised $69 million, you could have hired hundreds of people to go and do your ministry for you all around the world, and you could have still flew first class. So these folks be on some nonsense. That's why I don't get behind a whole lot of folks. Like, even people that I have a respect for, I still have my guard up because people are human. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people have a price. Even though maybe Tiger Woods ain't got one, because I watched him turn down that $700 million. I was like, okay. Look, after that wife knocked him upside the head with that golf club, he said that he ain't playing no more games. That he is done messing around. So, all right. I was like, dang, Tiger, you turned down $700 million? All right. I guess he ain't got a price. All right. Oh, it was Larry Reed he cursed out. Okay. I don't really follow Larry. Like, I don't follow a lot of people on YouTube, so a lot of times I get the names wrong. Or sometimes I'll know their face, but I'm like, wait, who is that? So there's like a handful of people I follow, but Larry Reed I'm not too familiar with. JK12 Parkland school shooting trial is currently active. We'll see how that goes too. J Dub, what? He said, "Oh, is this the cussing pastor?" Let me tell. Did I tell y'all this story? Maybe I should put it in the podcast. I think I told y'all when my mom's best friend died in 2019, and we went to Detroit for the funeral. And the preacher was, well, it was his wife actually. And so he did his wife's eulogy, but he was a cussing preacher. And mind you, I didn't know the guy that well, but I'm sitting through this sermon, and I already knew it was gonna be some nonsense because when we got to the church, there were some issues as far as the body. Somebody didn't pay somebody something. So I'm standing in a little lobby. This is like 2 hours before the funeral was supposed to start. I'm watching all these grown men with these big old furs, because you know it's Detroit. Everybody got a fur coat, cussing up a storm in the church. No, this is some bullshit. How the you ain't got no gut? I was like, no, this the preacher. And but anyway, when he got to do the eulogy, man, that man cussed up a storm in the church. I was like, I've never seen this before. We better get struck by lightning in here. That was the wildest funeral. Maybe I'll tell it in the podcast. I don't want to give all the details on that one, but that one was off the chain. Like, okay. No judgment on my end, but wow. Oh, Cody Conjure said he called the girl Biggie. See, that's messed up. Like, all right. Mm, mm, mm. Have some discernment with the people you get behind. Storefront church. And before y'all get offended at me using that term, that's the kind of I grew up in a bunch of storefront churches, so I can say storefront church because I, for some reason, my mom stayed finding churches where everybody got to participate because there ain't but 30 of us. I don't know how. Every time somebody said, I've never heard of that pastor before. I've never heard him before either until I saw the clip of him getting robbed. And like some of y'all were saying about it, kind of just coming off like it seemed staged. I think it might have been as well. Kind of like when we talked about January 6th. That night when we went live on January 6th, all of y'all were like, this is an inside job. And look how everybody was right. All the details coming out. It's more multi-layered than we thought it was. Man. Philly Rojas said, I don't care for the mayor of New York. I don't either. I don't know why y'all, I can't say y'all, I don't know why they elected him. Nope, can't do it. He is, absolutely not. There were better options, way better options. Better options, New York. Tuco Pamoja said, calling people names because you disagree with their lifestyle or their appearance is not cool at all. I'm tired of hearing a conversation about like if you disagree with somebody's lifestyle. Let people live and do what they do. Mind your business. Let people be happy. Yeah, I don't agree. And who are you? Get out, get out of people's face. Okay. I think we're gonna start winding down soon. What else did I have in here? Oh, this is for me and my horror flick fans. You know they are remaking or not remaking, but they're making a prequel. Is it a prequel or a sequel to The Orphan? If y'all don't know, that's one of my favorite horror movies. That's the movie about the little girl Esther that got adopted out of the little Russian orphanage and everything like that. But I can spoil the movie. The movie came out in 09. You should have saw it by now. But it turned out like she wasn't a little girl. She was actually an adult that had some condition that made her look like a little girl. But she fell in love with the dad and tried to kill everybody in the house. That was one of my favorite movies because Esther was dragging them kids. There was this girl at the school that was a bully that kept bothering her. And so like she did something where she ripped the girl's little book and all the papers and stuff fell out in the hallway. And so Esther ran into the girl at the playground and she pushed off the big toy and broke the girl's leg. Like that was my movie right there. And then the part where there was a sibling that was deaf and the boy and the sibling were playing around and somehow he shot his little pellet gun and accidentally hit a pigeon or a dove or something. And then like the dove was like one step from dying, wings fluttering going through it. And Esther came and was like, you have to put it out of its misery now. And he's like, I can't do it. And so she took like a brick and just, I was like, Esther is off the chain. And then remember the girl was, the little girl next to her was deaf. So Esther was like, she's in heaven now. I was like, that movie was off the chain. So I can't wait to see the new one come out. We're gonna have an orphan club for those who are interested. That was one of my favorite movies in college. So I can't wait to see that. I have not seen Nope yet. Thought I was going with somebody to go see it, but they got scared and didn't want to see the movie, talking about they're scared of the movie. So I was trying to save a slot, but I'm just going to see it with somebody else this week. Let me see. Somebody's asking me about Mystical. I have no comment. Somebody asked me about the girl from Florida A&M that took the little picture in front of the on the campus with no clothes on while she graduated. Do you? Yeah, I ain't got nothing to say. Oh, Sesame Place. I definitely should have. I wanted to do a video about this when it first dropped, but I was not in a space to do videos at the time. But yes, I think what we saw in that clip where you saw like the characters ignoring the little black kids, clearly that's not anything new. Like that's happened at a lot of places. But I think what sucks is, they are owned, from what I understand, by SeaWorld, I think. But what sucks is Sesame Street, the show, has always been kind of celebrated as being a show that's extremely inclusive and a show that really tries to educate kids at a young age about the differences that we all have as humans and culturally how we all come from different spaces and how we do things differently, traditionally, and even with our customs and stuff like that. And so what sucks is the nonsense that happened at that little theme park has definitely messed up the brand for Sesame Street because everybody's looking at them crazy. But I think it sucks that you as an adult at work in your little costume of whatever character, the fact that you can see an excited 2 or 3 or 4 or 5-year-old that, they're excited to see somebody that they recognize from TV. You look them dead in their eye and keep it moving. Or you look them dead in their eye and pass on and act like they don't exist. Like things like that are things that chip away at a child's innocence and how they see the world. And then you wonder why these kids be having all the rage they have when they're teenagers. It's like, that crap is effed up. And I know that one of the families is doing like a $25 million lawsuit. And then there were other clips that started coming out. Because at first I just saw that one clip and everybody was trying to justify, well, he could have just been looking. Oh, they said that, could you hold the baby? And they said, we don't hold babies and blah, 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 blah. And then next thing you know, there's a clip from all these other people that got the same experience where, again, it's like they bypass a black child to go to somebody else. I just think stuff like that is jacked up. Like, the children should not suffer from the stupidity of adults. Like, I have my viewpoints on politics and I be on here going in all the time on everybody. But when it comes to like kids didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask for the parents that they got. They didn't ask for the socioeconomic situation that they were born into. So why do we make children go through so much nonsense because there's so many miserable adults that just want to put their hurt on to other people? Stuff like that pisses me off. So we'll see what happens with that. But if I have any children, we ain't going there. That's done. You better off just going. I was gonna say Chuck E. Cheese, but I just saw a clip of Chuck E. Cheese too, where a rat ain't want to high five one of the kids. I said, you are a rat. You should be thankful anybody even wants to give you attention. You better give these high fives. What y'all doing? Kind of nonsense. Like, man, stupid. Somebody's asking me. I see they're still fighting on these planes and Spirit Airlines. I don't get fighting on the planes, y'all. We're too high up. It's too high. We don't need to do anything that's going to make a space where the plane drops. You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything that's going to piss me off at 37,000 feet where I'm going to want to throw hands with somebody. I'll catch you when we get on the tarmac. Like, when we land, I'm going to catch you in the terminal. I'm going to catch you when we get out. I'm going to catch you a baggage claim. Actually, no, I'm going to just go to baggage claim and steal your bag if I can recognize it. Like, you're going to do something else, but we're not fighting on the plane. Like I said, the pilots need to just start dropping the planes a few hundred feet when they do that. I bet you everybody will sit down then. Goodness. Hot mess. What else do I have in here? Oh, I saw that clip. Lil Durk, too. I don't know if you guys saw the clip of Lil Durk on the stage. Hopefully he's okay. Like, he was on the stage, and I don't know if he wasn't paying attention to the blocking they had, but one of those like pyro things shot up, but it wasn't the ones with the fire. It was just the smoke, but it like hit him like right in the face. So he has like the patch on the eye. It happened at, was that Lollapalooza? Was that one or some other festival? But yeah, that sucks. Hopefully his eye is good, because that kind of scared me when I saw it. I was like, dang, that sucks. That's why I think like there's so many incidents that happen all the time. I was just watching the guy Romeo, I think I talked about him before. He was a background singer for a bunch of acts. Like, he was on Janet's Janet tour, and he was on Michael's the Michael and Friends set of dates. That it was like 2 shows in like '99. But he was talking about like when they were at the Berlin show, and Michael was on this big giant platform that it went way up, and then like the platform just happened to drop all the way down and like pretty much crashed, and then like they had said like every joint in Michael's body was like in shock, but he still had to finish the show. Like, these entertainers go through a lot sometimes with the staging sometimes, and every now and then things happen. Or remember like the NSYNC pop video. Remember, who was it? Joey. Was that Joey? Joey was the one who had the little red in his hair. His leg got caught in that little space door on the stage while they were doing like some kind of show or something. And so his knee was all messed up. So they had to use, was that Wade Robinson with his trifling self? They had to use Wade Robinson to fill in as Joey in the video, and they just didn't zoom in on his face because Joey couldn't do the dance. And like, these entertainers be going through it with the staging. Or Kid Cudi, the dude throwing a ball at him, like stuff like that. That's why I would never want to do a festival if I was invited. Like, let me just perform for my fans, because I don't got time to be y'all throwing bottles because y'all don't like my music. F you and everybody else. I throw the bottle back and the microphone stand. That's what Solange did that time. Solange threw a whole mic stand in the crowd. Like, play around if you want to. All right, let's do some comments. I think that's pretty much most of what I saw, minus this other story with the people that made the homemade helicopter that crashed and they didn't make it. Again, helicopters. Let's do things that don't put us in a space where we're probably going to die. You really want to trust a homemade helicopter? You gonna get in it and fly? Okay. All right. About as cuckoo as Chick-fil-A trying to have people work for free. We're just gonna feed you some burgers. Like, do you know how hot it is outside? Like, even when I go to the Chick-fil-A off Maryland Avenue, they got all the people outside taking the orders. It's been like 100 degrees the last week and a half in DC, and I feel so bad for the workers out there with and they do that at McDonald's too, and some of the other places where they meet you at your car and they're walking around. It's like 100 degrees. You mean to tell me you're gonna pay people with some dry chicken sandwich? They don't even get a drink. Like, it's hot outside. Pay people some money. These corporations make too much money to keep trying to lowball folks. Like, what y'all doing? Kind of nonsense. Anyway, I'm gonna just read some comments for the rest of the night, and then we're gonna wind down. I would hang a little bit later, but I do have a flight to catch. And some things I got to knock out, so I can't hang as late as I normally do. Let's see. Where are we at? Somebody say, can I get a refill? That's my song there. D. Bradford said, "That's the same thing I said. I'm like, the church looks like a storefront, and he's wearing $400,000 worth of jewelry, because I think that's what he said got stolen in a robbery, like a few $100,000 worth of jewelry. It was probably one of those members, son or grandson, who got him because he just gave her $500. Some wild stuff. Like hmm. Somebody said Creflo not giving any money back. I wonder if his congregation is still um washing his plane. Hmm. Let's see. Jalil Manson said, "What did you think of Monica's new song, Frank?" Oh, I like it. It's a nice song. Probably because the Rob Milton guy wrote it. I know I follow him on Twitter, so it's kind of cool to see his career kind of going to where it's been going. Like I remember he got like a placement on the Insecure soundtrack, and now he has the Monica song. So like that's pretty dope. I liked it when I saw her do it on the Tiny Desk concert. Monica's funny too, because Monica's gonna have some candles. She's gonna give you a whole presentation with everything. No, I like the song. It's interesting. It's not really getting a lot of radio play. So hopefully it does a bit better. I'm telling you, the industry likes to pick and choose who they want to support. Monica's always been good to R&B radio. Don't start flaking on Monica now. Um, let's see. Yes, Lexi 1192, 700 million. That's because that little PGA versus this other new golfing league. And the only reason I'm not pressed about this story is because the PGA has had a history of racism. So I'm enjoying watching the PGA stress out about this little Saudi Arabian, whatever little golf league they got with this blood money and oil money that they got. I'm just watching it. I'm watching from the sidelines with my popcorn and watching them stress out about all that. I'm not invested at all. But I was like, dang, Tiger said, y'all can keep 700 million. I don't want it. It's like, interesting. All right. That is a lot of money too, though. I feel like when you're already rich like that, you don't want anything else. You got everything. It was even like this lottery that was like $1 billion. I was like, would I even want that much? I kind of almost be scared to get that much. Let me just get like $8 million. I'm gonna be. Let me double that. Let me get like $16 million, and I'm gonna be good. Like I'm good. That's enough for me to fund all the things I would like to do. That's enough for me to leave some for family to build legacy, and that's enough for me to be charitable and do everything. I'm good. You know what I mean? $1 billion is a whole lot of money. It sounds like a whole lot of stress. Um, Queen said, "Are these bots in the chat?" I don't think the bots are in the chat today. I haven't seen the porn bots that normally show up or the crypto ones. They've been quiet today. I don't know. I ain't seen them today. Um, Somebody said, "Please make that a podcast episode." That's about the funeral. And mind you, that was the craziest trip anyway, because we went to Detroit, but we weren't staying in Detroit. We were staying in like some town outside of Detroit. And the hotel they told us to go to, we didn't realize, or they didn't tell us that the hotel was closing permanently because it was turning into a senior living, like assisted facility. And so we were the last tenants in the hotel that night. And so when we got there, we pulled up. There were no cars in the parking lot except for one. And I was like, "Mama, this looks like one of them hotels in North Korea. Are you sure this is the hotel we're supposed to go to?" She's like, "Yeah, it's the one they told us to come to." All right, we're gonna go inside. We go in. The only car that was there was the person that was working there, and they were already like starting to strip the walls and stuff to make the hotel accommodating for what they were about to do with the reconstruction and turn it into the senior living center. And I'd asked the lady, like, "Are y'all closing or something?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, this is our last week. You guys are our last little hotel guests." I was like, "Oh, okay." And so we ain't had nothing. They had already they had already turned the cable off. We couldn't watch no TV. And mind you, the hotel, when you went inside of it, it looked like it was 1988 up in there. Like it had this green carpet. The TV still had wood panels on the side. I'm like, "Mom, what hotel did we get?" And I remember my mom had went in the bathroom, and like I was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna put these clothes in the closet." And so when I opened the closet, I saw my mom. I'm like, "Wait a minute, huh? What is it?" So I opened the closet. The tub is right there, and then my mom's. I'm like, "What? I thought this was the closet." And I was like, "Okay." So we closed that back. And then we were laughing because my mom was like, "Well, at least they ain't got roaches." And literally, as soon as she said that, as soon as she pulled the sheet over this little roach, I was like, "Mom, we need to sleep in the car." And my mom was like, "You see what neighborhood we in? We not sleeping in the car either. We better." I was like, "Dang, man, that was the funniest trip." I was like, "Mama, you," because my mom was kind of bougie. That's what made it funny. Like, just picture like if you could picture like a Diane Carroll on Different World. She's not that intense, but my mom can be kind of bougie. So like that was a trip there. I was like, we couldn't even cry good because we was laughing so hard. Um, man. All right, let's see. Deep Bradford said, "Funerals can be so funny. I was at a funeral at the beginning of July, and two ladies started arguing behind me. Cell phones ringing after pastor instructed everyone to silence to turn them off. Yeah, funerals they can be fun. So well, not fun. It's a sad occasion, but if you're with the right people, it can kind of sometimes be a good time. Sometimes. Um, I'm normally the dramatic one at the funerals. Well, it depends. My grandma, I was so mad at myself because I was in there boohooing the whole time. I was the main one talking trash in the limo ride on the way there because we were joking about which family member was going to break down when they got in there, and we didn't even line up good. We weren't even in the church. I just heard the organ. I was the only one the whole funeral. I couldn't get anything out. I was just crying because my grandma was my favorite person in the world. And at the time, life was just not good. Like I had just graduated from Howard, but my life was not together. So I was unemployed. I had to move back home. I had just found out my dad was sick. I had just fell out with one of my best friends. Like life was just all over the place. And then grandma was gone. I was in that funeral just boo-hooing. They had the little nurse with the little white outfit. She just kept giving me tissue and peppermint. And like the tissue was like starting to stick to my face. And at the time, my skin had been like, it's a little broken out right now, but it had been really bad at that time. Like just the stress of trying to get out of undergrad. And so my skin was extremely sensitive. And so like my tears burned as they came down because I was using too many harsh products. And like, man, I was going through it at that funeral. And the way my family fried me up when we got home, they're like, Michael, you talked all that. You couldn't even get to your seat good. Cried the whole time. And then when we got to the graveside, I didn't want to go to the grave. I just wanted to sit in the car. Mind you, it's Savannah, Georgia, 106 degrees, and it's May or whatever. And I was like, I'd rather just sit in this car and sweat. I don't want to go out there. My dad was like, go to the grave, Michael, go. Oh, what a time. And then my grandma was an Eastern Star. And so my cousin had got the Eastern Stars to do their thing that they do. But the people that did it couldn't read. And so we were standing there while they were sitting here stuttering. And it's hot outside. We getting bit by mosquitoes. And they trying to talk about the different colors on the star. And at this point, I just want to go home. I was like, this is just the worst day ever. What a time. What a time. Anyway. Somebody said free drone if you're interested. I live in DC. Drones are not fun around here because you got to register that crap. That federal government does not play. I don't even think in DC your drones can go over a certain threshold of height before it gets like flagged because we're just in this airspace where there's too many federal buildings. Um, Spoken Wisdom said I can't do horror movies anymore. I like the horror movies, but it's really because I just be talking trash to the screen the whole time. Like anytime I watch a horror movie, I'm just trying to figure out how to escape and not die. Like my goal is like, let me figure out exactly how to get out. I've told y'all the only movie I could not figure out a successful escape plan was Quarantine. That's the movie where there's like the random diseases outside, and there's the news reporter that was supposed to follow the firefighters, and they end up in this mansion, and then the people inside the mansion all had whatever the little zombie disease is, and so they got sealed inside of the house, and they couldn't leave the house because if they left the house, they were going to get shot by like the CDC people, and so your only option was you leave the house and get shot, or you get eaten alive by the little zombie people. And man, that's the only one where I could not figure it out. I was like, dang it. I'm still trying to figure that one out. Y'all let me know if you found a way to survive in quarantine. Let me see. Ms. Noodle said, look, the black folks are still taking their children to out to Sesame Place. They deserve what they get. My thing is, once they show you who they are, that's that. We ain't no second chances with all that. Nah, I'm good. We move on. Nari said, nope, it's not scary and it really isn't good. Save your money, Cal. I at least want to support Kiki Palmer. Somebody was telling me you should at least support Kiki. I'll support Kiki at least. By the way, they just opened like this new movie theater down the street I want to go to because apparently it's like a restaurant style. I just want to see what it's like. I forgot about that, Ayana J. When the Burt character slapped that little black girl. See, they be playing. At my old job, one time the ice cream truck lady slapped one of the kids with the money. It was like this Korean lady, and the girl came like, Mr. Michael. And mind it didn't help that it's one of my kids that already get on everybody's nerves, but still, they're my kids. So the minute I found she did what all the way I stormed out to that ice cream truck. Excuse me. Because what happened was it was some conversation about the change. And the girl said that she had this change. The ice cream truck lady didn't believe her. And she took little money and hit the girl in the head with the money. Nope. Nope. Oh, I lit into that ice cream lady. You ain't got to worry about coming back here if that's how you going to do things. Don't do that crap. Mm, mm, mm. Sesame Palace. Some nonsense. How you going to go against the kids? J Dub, what said comparing Zendaya and Kiki Palmer's career? I don't. I feel like they both have good careers. I know there was a conversation about that on like social media, and they were trying to paint the conversation saying colorism plays a role into why Zendaya gets the roles that she gets and Kiki gets the roles that she gets. But I think Kiki's had a great career, like a really great career. She's been in a lot of spaces. She's had a talk show. She's had a music career. She's been in a bunch of movies. She was on Good Morning America. I think she's doing great. I do think there's a conversation about colorism in the industry, but I think I don't think the comparison with Zendaya and Kiki is even a fair comparison. They have two different ways of doing things anyway. Kiki's gonna be fine. Kiki always got a job. Like that's the one nickname they giving her. Kiki keeps a job because she stayed hooked into something, and she's in a Note movie. So, yeah, I think colorism exists, but I don't think Kiki is in a space where doors have been closed. I'm sure there may have been doors that have been closed on her, but her work has been able to speak for itself ever since what like Aquila and the Bee and all the movies she's been in as a child. Like she's done well for herself. And I think because she's likable, she'll get into many doors. Like that's one of the things too. When you're likable, people will give you opportunities all the time. There's a lot of folks sometimes who I don't think are as likable, have just a bad energy that they bring along with them, and then they be mad. Kim Burrell, bad energy all the way around, and then be mad because people don't embrace them the way that they feel that they should be embraced. You know what I mean? You got bad energy. Nobody wants to deal with you. Like who wants to deal with somebody that just every time you see them, it's like you always got something out of pocket to say, or you always got something to. You want to break everybody's high down. You always trying to kill somebody's joy. Nobody want to be around that. Um, Man. All right, let's keep going. Excuse me, did y'all see that purple monster just knocked that baby over? What? Um, that would have been the end of the purple monster. Who knocked y'all knocking the babies over? What did the babies do? Other than get on our nerves on the plane. But other than that, leave the babies alone. Man. All right. Goodness. Um, he going in today. Thank you, Art Norman Jr. author. Great show. Okay, let me shout you out. My ebook, Hollywood Hollyweird, is on Amazon. Y'all make sure y'all support Art Norman Jr. All right. The book is called Hollywood Hollyweird, and it is on Amazon. Um, what happened? Okay, Juco Diaz said, "Man, if I ever get spit on, you better believe I'm keeping my booty in the chair, and I hope everyone else does also. Them planes are already held together by paper clips and scotch tape." See, my thing is, do you ever like? I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I hate when I'm on the plane and it's turbulent, and when we're hitting the air pockets, it sounds like the top of the plane is splitting apart. Like you be looking and you see like the little screws that hold the two pieces together. I be looking at the screws. I be like, I feel like the screws be twisting every time we jump. I'm like, all right, any minute now. Like, yeah, some of them planes, especially them planes where they got them little cheap folding chairs that they just screw into the seat or screw into the ground. We're too high up for all that. Like I said, I'm gonna just catch you in the terminal. We're not fighting up there. We're not. And then the pilot got to do an emergency landing and turn around and divert because y'all want to do too much. Like y'all playing around with people's lives. Like these flights are already too expensive. Whatever beef y'all got, handle it when you get out of the airport. Like people just signing up to go on the no-fly list. It's stupid. There's just not a lot that gets me to a space where I'm gonna throw hands with anybody. Like I talk all this trash, but I'm here all the time. Like it takes you're not gonna really get me out of my character too often. It doesn't happen a lot. Like people can say whatever they want. I'm still gonna be right here. Like you're not messing up my sleep pattern. You're not gonna steal my joy. I'm not catching a charge for you. You're not about to mess up my career trajectory or whatever else I got working on. Because at the end of the day, most likely a lot of these people who are throwing hands in these different spaces are folks that have never seen each other before and will never see each other again. So you know what? You're not worth the energy. I'm gonna still tell you about yourself. I'm gonna light you up. Oh, I'm gonna fry you up. But yeah, we're not about to just be out here throwing hands to throw hands. Plus, people are crazy now. Folks want to pull out knives and start shooting about everything. Crazy. I want to fight on the plane. Ain't even enough space in the plane. Like, man, now can't nobody get ginger ale because they got to suspend food service. Like y'all playing. Can't even get my peanuts. All right. All right, let's see. Okay, now I see what y'all talking about, these bots. Miles said, let's not act like she didn't have her own show with True Jackson VP, hosted her own talk show, hosted the CM, hosted GMA. Plus, yeah, exactly. Plus countless roles. Um, Philly Rojas said, "Yeah, Kimberell is so nasty. Her spirit reeks of evil." Like I didn't know her that well. One of my friends had introduced me to her music as a kid, and my freshman year at Howard, I remember this too. My dad at the time, my dad's job had him working in some town in Pennsylvania, and so he drove down to come visit me one time, and I was so mad because I was like, "You gonna come during the homecoming week?" I was trying to go be wild and free and party and wake up on the sidewalk. Like, what you doing? And so because my father came, I was like, "Okay, well, I guess we'll go to the gospel show because like the Howard homecoming, they got all these different events. There's the game, and there's the parade, and there's the step show, and there's the R&B show, and the fashion show, and all these different things, Yard Fest, and all these things. But they always have a gospel show, and there's also like a comedy show. So I bought me and my dad tickets to the gospel show, and it was Kim Burrell. Now, mind you, I didn't know none of her songs like that. The only Kim Burrell song I grew up knowing was like "The Lord Will Make a Way Somehow," and actually, I think that's a Hezekiah Walker song, and I think she just leads it. But so I didn't know Kim Burrell like that, and so I think they had students working like the sound and lighting and everything. But Kim was nasty. Ooh, I mean, she was cussing out the sound people because they were the sound was not super great, but she was lighting to them. I mean, talking about folks need to be fired and who can't do their job right. And then she go on a speech about just understand when I'm doing my ministry, the stuff has to work in order for the ministry to. I get it, but you ain't got to be so freaking nasty. My dad was turned off. He was like, "Yeah, I don't like her." I was like, "Yeah, that was she. That was the only other time I saw her was I was at BET Honors in 2010 when she had sang for Whitney Houston. But yeah, that was some. Her energy's off. You gonna call all the people in the church ugly? Okay. All right. Anyway, Tina McCants. Calvin, was your birthday in July or August? It was August 1st. I kick off the month of August. Me and MTV share a birthday, August 1st. Only MTV was 1981. I was a few years later. Um, oh, J Dub, what $1,000 meet and greet for Chris Brown? Most of those meet and greets are like $1,000. If we want to be honest, like with a lot of these big name celebrities, most of them that I can remember of a certain caliber, they charge you about $1,000 to meet them. Beyonce's is up there, Janice is up there. That's why I ain't met Janet because I was like, I like you, but I ain't paying to just meet you for 2 seconds and get a picture. I'd rather just pay and see the show, and I'll see you when I see you. I would love to meet you, but I'm not paying 1,000 just to take a picture with somebody. I'm not that starstruck. I think that's kind of the norm. It's kind of, I don't know. I mean, it looks like he gives them a good time. They get to have the fun poses and everything. Some people are mean with their meet and greets. You're not even allowed to touch the celebrity. You got to stand right here, and then the celebrity be way over there, and they take the little picture from way here and next. But would I pay that much for a celebrity? No, there's no celebrity I'm that pressed to meet when I'm paying $1,000. I mean, I'll pay a few hundred for a good seat at the show to be thoroughly entertained for 2 hours. And, because I want to feel the heat from the pyrotechnics. And when the water sprays on the stage, I want the splashback to hit me. And I want to choke from the smoke that's, blowing off this. I want all of that. So I'll pay. But to go and be in a line and go in a room and you pay $1,000 and you see the celebrity for all of 5 seconds and you take the picture and they're next, absolutely not. Nope. Not I, said the cat. Queen said, please no plane talk like this. Y'all making me not want to fly. I think you just need to not fly on the cheap airlines. That's what all the flights be on Spirit. It'd be Spirit and Frontier and sometimes JetBlue every single time. Them be the three. They be throwing hands. That's what that lady from whatchamacallit said from Abbott Elementary. And she said, oh, that's because that's the bus people on the plane. The flights were real cheap when the pandemic hit. So that's the bus people up there fighting. I was like, you know what? But yeah, half the time on the plane, I'm asleep anyway. Like once I put on my headphones, half the time before we even take off, I've already nodded off. Like we sit on the tarmac for more than 10 minutes. I'm sleeping and you trying to stay up and be knocked out. My playlist is already cranking. I already ate something heavy and probably had a drink before I got on the plane. I'm gonna be asleep. I don't like to just be up on the flights. Absolutely not. Thank you. I cannot see to save my life. I don't know where my glasses are. Procedure HUD Dangerfield. I hope I said that right. Forgive me if I said it wrong. I'm sorry. I can't see. I don't got my glasses. I don't know where I put them. I should just get contacts and call it a day. Denisha Clowers. Imagine throwing hands on a plane. There's just not space in there. Like you gonna hit your elbow on one of them armrests and ain't nobody about to do that. Nope. Somebody said, I just think, why does this always update when I'm trying to read the comments? So it waits till I'm ready to read the comment, and then that's when it wants to update and jump. I did not ask you to do that, chat. Um, oh well, we'll just keep it moving. I was trying to read a comment, but all right. So, oh, she's a dang, y'all dragging Kimberell. I didn't mean to start that conversation. um, man. Ms. Newell said, "Oh my God, it's worse. I remember coming back from India. Oh, that's a long flight. And the plane was shaking for a good 35 minutes. See, I can't stand it. That's what, like, when my family still lived in Washington State and I'd fly from DC to Washington, as soon as you got over the Rocky Mountains, it was going to be turbulence no matter what. Man, I used to hate it. Ooh. Um, wasn't Spirit in the news because a part came off their plane? Don't tell me that. I don't want to know that. Well, I don't fly Spirit anyway, but stuff when I get ready to fly, there are certain shows I don't even watch. You know, like for some reason, like when you get ready to fly, that's when all the why planes crash shows come on and everything. I'm like, nope, I'm not watching none of that because then you'll be over there thinking. All right. Somebody said before Spirit Airlines, the worst one was called Pro Air in the 90s. Yeah, you got me beat. I don't know if I remember that one. I think the worst airline I ever flew was America West. Me and my mom and my brother one time went to Savannah for Christmas. And my mom was already trying to make a way because, trying to fly 3 people is a lot of money. So we had to stop 3 times. We went from Seattle to Phoenix to either Houston or Dallas, and then Houston or Dallas to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to Savannah. We left at like 6 in the morning, and we did not get to Savannah until like 8 the next day. I was like, that was the longest day, and every flight was delayed. And because each flight was delayed, we'd miss our connecting flight. And so it just took us forever to get home. I was like, listen, I'll never go through this again. But my mom had bought them tickets off like Expedia or something. And I was like, man. And then again, remember the story I told y'all about my plane flight when I came from my uncle's funeral and all the stuff didn't work? I will never use a third-party ticket thing again. It was already bad enough they lost my luggage. I had to go to the funeral with what I wore on the plane, which was like some sneakers and jeans and everything. I'm looking all homely. And it's down south, everybody judge. I'm like, how you show up to the funeral looking all homely? Like, man, it was hot. I ain't even had a t-shirt to wear, just long sleeve because it was going to be cold on the plane. Anyway. All right, let's keep it moving. I'm still at this Kiki Palmer segment. Let me scroll down some. Oh, thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I can't believe I'm 23, guys. Can't believe it. That's gonna be my musical age. My musical age is 20. I'll go up a little bit. My musical age is 26. All right, Inyo, August 5th in the house. Okay, my aunt's birthday is tomorrow. All right. What year was I born? I was an 80s baby. I was born in 88. The best year of the 80s. Yes. Nerd Lars said, y'all talk about Tiger and his apology on Power. Listen, Tiger, I don't follow. Mainly because you even sat there and messed with that underage girl and y'all just let him do that and thought that crap was cool. And then he made a whole song about it, talking about she's a big girl. Tiger, I don't follow. I don't even know what happened with him, but whatever it is, so be it. Nope. Absolutely not. There will be no Rack City over here. Okay, I think I'm finally getting to the piece of the chat that I'm trying to get to. All right. Okay, cool. All right. Do I have anything else worth mentioning? I don't think there's anything else I need to share with y'all. I think we covered the most. All right, cool. We'll chop it up for a few more minutes before I go to bed. Avocado Queen said, "Did you talk about how you celebrated your birthday?" Sorry, I was late to the live. I kept it low key. I just went to the beach. That's my favorite thing to do. Like I told myself, this is the first summer I've had as an adult, at least after college, where I have not had to run a summer camp. So I said I was going to enjoy the summer and do summer things because it's one, like when I say run a summer camp, I'm not saying just be the camp counselor and you take the kids on the field trip. No, I ran a summer camp. Like dealing with the money, locking in all of the field trips, ensuring the food vendors, trying to come up with programming for a bunch of kids every day for 8 hours for 8 weeks, being out in that hot sun, 120 degrees, trying to find a pool vendor and getting the kids to go to the pool and making sure all the kids could swim, and the ones that couldn't swim, you got to keep an eye on and all. Man, summer camp, God bless anybody who has to do that. I had to do 10 summer camps. I told myself I was not doing an 11th one. And so now that I actually got the opportunity to have a summer where I didn't have to do it, I said I was going to live a little. So I chose, me and a friend went to the beach. And I went to Rehoboth Beach in Delaware because that was the one I have not been to. I'm not that big of a fan of Virginia Beach. It's cool, and it's not really the beach I like to go to. I like the city. I'm not pressed about the beach. And in Ocean City, that's normally our go-to. So I was like, all right, we're going to Rehoboth Beach. And so we did that. That was pretty nice. And we got those friends. You just sing in the car and in karaoke, carpool all the way there and laugh and crack up. And it was a good time. So that's what I did. I'm not, like I said, I'm not big on birthdays, but I'm trying to change my energy and be a bit more celebratory and enjoy things for what they are, not always be so over analytical all the time where I can't enjoy things. And so why not be happy that you've had another year go by? There's been a whole lot of stuff to happen. So yeah, that's what I did. I like to celebrate other people's birthdays though. Somebody said they use their rent money to get a hug from somebody that don't like them. Oh, that must be about Chris. Lexi 1192 said, I want to meet and greet with John Legend back before he was big time. I mean, there's some people. I think the only person I ever paid to meet, I did pay to meet Brandy, but that was only like $150. And then that was already a disaster because the promoter, this was in Norfolk, like the promoter, I don't think the promoter was in contact with Brandy's team, so Brandy didn't even know that there was a meet and greet. Brandy's lucky I like her because, man, what ended up happening was, and then they oversold it. So there was like maybe 100 of us. Brandy was not feeling it. And so what ended up happening was like Brandy, they made us all just line up in the hallway. Brandy walked down the hallway, shook some hands, and if you could get a picture fast enough, you got a picture. And she went out the door. I said, Brandy, I said I will never pay to ever meet another celebrity again. I was young at the time. That was like 2012 or something. But woo, I still love Brandy, but I was side-eyeing. It wasn't even, and really to be fair, it was a part of a larger show with like a bunch of different acts, and she already had gone on late. And so by the time, because they did her meet and greet after, so it was already like 1 a.m. So I could understand she was tired, but dang. Man, somebody said, please bring your podcast back. It's coming. I just have to prioritize certain things. The podcast gets the least traction, so it kind of gets the stepdaughter treatment at the moment. But it's coming. I got to finish some other things. But like I said, there's some cool things coming in relation to the podcast if we can get it going. So cross your fingers and put in some good wishes. Oh, I remember Airtran. What was that? At Bougie Darko. I remember Airtran. One of my friends lived in Florida. He used to always take like the Airtran. They had that little college special you could take. So they'd always go back to Florida from when we were at Howard. Oh, Lord. Don't face it. Every time I fly, I always have a dream about a plane crash. See, now, all right, now y'all making it too. Nope. I ain't doing all that. That makes me think, what's that movie? What's the Bridesmaids? When she's on the plane and she's like, I had a dream. And we went down and you were in it. I was like, no, see. I hope I don't ever have to sit by nobody like that. Yes, Mona Me. That was when I lost my luggage. Oh, I was pissed. Do you consider Aaliyah Try Again a pop song? Because I feel like they put it in the wrong category for the Grammys. I consider it an R&B song, but let me see. I don't know what it was nominated for. Let me look really quick. What did they nominate it for? What category? Aaliyah Try Again. Is this Grammys? All right, let me see. Nominated for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. I consider it an R&B song. Yeah, it crossed over. It was a #1 hit. But to me, I think that's an R&B song. It just the way, like, to me, R&B is very rhythmic. There's just kind of like this swagger that's already in the sound already. So I think, I don't know. It kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in this episode or this video where I was talking about how a lot of the genres are kind of intertwined culturally because of what's kind of happened with the internet and everything like that. And so now things that we consider to be successful, we just automatically put in the pop bubble or pop, category. I still would consider it an R&B song. All right, CDL 29, August 8th. Okay, somebody I know is August 8th as well. I think one of my kids is. Um, Somebody said 84 is the best year. All right, I'll give you Purple Rain. All right, I like 88 because Rob Bass, It Takes Two came out. um, anyway, um, let's see. T. Bradford said, "Yep, no third-party companies when booking flights, hotels, rental cars. Never flown or had a desire to fly Spirit or Frontier. I'm good. Yeah, I will never do third-party ever again. Ever again." I was trying to save some money. Marlon. Oh, what up, Marlon? Thank you. Said, "Happy birthday, Calvin." Side note: what is your thoughts on the Zeus Network? The CEO, which black man, said that's what the CEO, which is a black man, said, if that's what fans want, that's what he'll show. Zeus is because I ain't gonna lie. I told you I was watching that Jocelyn Hernandez show because that was some entertainment for me. The choreography, what she say, choreography. But no, I'm sorry. The whole network is trash. It's all trash TV. And the thing is, like, I just feel like with Zeus, you just expect to see the worst of the worst, right? I'm going to talk because I definitely was watching Jocelyn's Cabaret because that was some entertainment for me for all the wrong reasons. But like, no, we're not going to sit here and pretend that anything coming off Zeus Network is anything uplifting. The thing is I feel like there's a space for trash TV, but when it's the only thing that's out, it becomes a problem. But at least I think for Zeus, because it's something people pay for, and it's you're choosing to go and indulge in it, cool, so be it. Now, if Zeus Network was on just regular TV every day, I might have a problem with it because I don't think anything good comes out of that show. Somebody tried to get me. I tried to watch the little bad boy show. I couldn't do it. I was like, this is the stupidest show. I couldn't do it. Because there was one clip where I guess they weren't getting along, and the guy was like, "Come on, y'all, we the bad boys," and I'm like, "Who y'all supposed to be? I don't get what is the gist of the. I don't get this show. It's kind of, I guess it was supposed to be the male version of like Bad Girls Club, but I never liked that show either. I thought that show was stupid. I was like, what is the purpose? My friend Tanae used to make me sit and watch it because she used to love this show. But I'm not gonna lie, there was one clip that used to make me laugh on Bad Girls Club where it was some girl in there. I don't know her name, was a black girl. She stayed talking about she was from Compton. I'm from Compton. I'm from Compton. Something Crenshaw. Something. Then she got in a fight with this white girl at the gas station. Then the white girl beat her up. I was like, "Are you serious?" And so she kept narrating what she was going to do. "You better stop this. I am not playing with you. I'm not playing with you." Then the white girl started choking. She, "I'm not playing with you." I was like, "Are you serious?" And then when it was over, the white girl's like, "Yeah, I'm real impressed, Compton." I was like, ah. But no, Zeus, no. Listen, if you're gonna make trash TV, just acknowledge and say it's trash TV. Own it. Yeah, I make these trashy shows because people watch. Own it. But when they try to pass it off as, "Oh, we're trying to give representation and a voice to the voice," please, y'all set these people up. You put them in a room with some liquor and tell them to fight. You lock them in a room with some folks they don't like, and they just throw hands. And the thing is, like, that gets old. I think that's why a lot of these reality shows are not really connecting anymore because they all do the same thing. Yes, people like to see the fights and the drama, but people like storylines. So I think even if you talked about something like the Housewives of Atlanta, I think people liked it in those early years because the people that are on the show were already friends and you kind of knew their backstory. So when they did have a mishap, the context was there. But those shows were more so funny. It was more so like just the shady jokes as opposed to them cussing each other out and "you stupid B" every 5 minutes. And now we fast forward, it's like the way that they market a lot of the shows is, let's just show them all throwing hands. But if you already don't have some kind of connection to the people on the show, or you don't really know their backstory that well, or you haven't, I guess, grown up with them, you could care less about who they're fighting because you see one fight, you've seen them all. You know what I mean? So, oh, that's some garbage TV. It's entertaining though. I just think you got to be able to have a balance. You balance it out. If that's the only thing you consume, just understand you're gonna lose some brain cells. But yeah. Um, Now I do think. Oh, I think I just saw somebody say Kev on stage, and the comment just scrolled. I will say support his network. He definitely built his own, which is really dope. The guy Kev on stage, a comedian. He you might know him from like YouTube or like Instagram, but he makes a lot of very entertaining content. That's like if you're somebody that wants content, but you don't want to be watching something that you can't watch in front of your kids, his stuff is really great because it's like really family. Say, oh, here it goes. Don Worthy said, "I think Kev on stage network will be better than Zeus. And then the funniest thing, like I don't do comedy like I would like to anymore, but like he used to perform at there was this place called like Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Show back like in Tacoma because his sister-in-law is one of my classmates. All of us are from that same region of Washington, so it's really good to kind of see him grow into his own. He's doing really well, so definitely proud of everything he's been able to do, and he was able to do it without selling out. You know what I mean? Um. Anyway, course correction said, "Thank God for summer camp from a parent's perspective." Oh, I understand why the parents love summer camp. They can't wait to drop them kids off. It's just if you got to run the camp, you really got to have a good team because it can be draining. It can be a lot. Especially and then sometimes you get them kids that you be like, man, so you pray they don't come back. You be hoping they be sick for a few days and they got perfect attendance. They be there every day. Last one to get picked up. First one dropped off, last one picked up. They gonna be on every field trip. Y'all go to the theme park. He or she got to stay in your group because they don't know how to act. And then they forgot the lunch money, so they ain't got nothing to eat. Now you got to spend your money to feed them because they got all kind of food conditions, so they can't eat the lunches that were already provided. I'm like, y'all driving me crazy with this now. Mm, mm, mm. All right, let's see. Thank you, Inspired to Travel. Happy birthday from a fellow. Come on, August 1st. From a fellow August 1st, baby. Happy birthday as well. Told you it's a great day. It's a great day. J Dub, was she with Wanya Morris at the time? No, this is Brandy was grown. This was during the 211 era. Brandy was grown. Christine Fo, she said my 9-year-old loves your podcast. Look, that's why I tried to stop cussing him because I didn't realize kids were listening. I was like, oh, let me take that out. Um, all right. Is the podcast on Apple? Yeah, Queen, the podcast is everywhere. So some of the episodes are actually on this channel. If you just go to my page and go on the playlist and you look at comedically hard-headed podcast, a lot of the episodes are there. Some of them are not on there yet, but everything else is like it's on Amazon. No, is it Amazon? I don't think it's on Amazon, but it's on Apple, it's on Tidal, Spotify, Buzzsprout, iHeartRadio, Google Play. It's on all those different platforms. Oh, did y'all see the Black Panther 2 trailer? I think we all gonna be in there crying. Everybody gonna be crying when that come out. I was already sad looking at the trailer. I was like, y'all breaking my heart already. Like, man, that's gonna be sad. Um, let's see. Thank you. Oh, this is your government name. I don't want to say it on here. Whoever just sent me the 15, thank you. I don't want to put your government name on the internet because folks are crazy. Um, you're a beautiful job, bro. Keep up the good work, sir. Thank you. Somebody said 1997. Lord, that's what half my kids were. Well, actually, those kids aren't even kids no more. They're grown now. Um, let's see. Christine said Compton got folded. She really did. I was so mad because in my head, we're not supposed to lose no fights. So we just genetically, we just ain't supposed to lose. So I was like, it was just killing me because like she was still narrating I'm not playing with you. I'm like, at this point, you're already in the fight. So just do what you're going to do and then talk about it afterwards. So when the girl was choking around, I'm not playing with you. Clearly, she's not playing with you. Like, oh, so mad. Oh. So embarrassing. Like if I ever get in a fight and lose, y'all will never see me again. Like I'm not. I mean, like if it was in front of, like if I ever was in like some viral video and lost, y'all will never see me again because I am not showing my face. I done talked all this trash. Nope, done. Man. Have you watched College Hill Celebrity Edition yet? I only saw the first episode because I wanted to see what they were gonna do with Stacey Dash, and then she done already left the show, so I haven't watched the rest of them yet. Um, I haven't read up on the Viola Davis movie Avocado Queen about the Woman King. I haven't. I don't even think I saw the trailer. I remember kind of seeing people talking about it, but I haven't really looked at it yet. Um, Somebody said she is gone. I don't know who's good. Oh, what up, cousin? Oh, that's my cousin Tiffany, y'all. Y'all remember Tiffany? That's the one who sang on here that one time. Look at the family. I was just talking about you earlier. Good thing it wasn't nothing bad. But let's see. We would understand if you got in a fight, Cal. Listen, I ain't afraid of a fight. I just don't want to lose. And ain't nobody. If I lose, y'all, nope. That's why I was glad I went to school and I went to school because smartphones were not out yet. So like back then, if you missed the fight at school, you just missed it. You had to depend on somebody to tell you what happened. Today, these kids have the phones ready. Like you, and then I really do feel like something about people seeing the phones out there, it makes them feel that they really have to up the ante. And then that's when you see people do things a lot more dangerous and just out of pocket because they really just gotta really like, really show out. So I'm glad I went to school and I went to school. Nobody, you had to bring a whole camcorder back then, and nobody had that kind of energy. So man, I have not seen P Valley. Somebody was telling me to catch it when I get a chance. I just don't have enough time to watch all these shows. I got like a whole list of shows I've been meaning to watch, and I just have not got a chance to get to them. There's like a whole list of stuff, but I'll definitely check it out when I have a free minute. Um, let's see. Do I have a bedtime regimen? Well, I'm not doing a good job with it. Sometimes if I'm really up late, I just go to sleep. And my only bedtime regimen is probably like the last hour before I decide to finally like wind down. I try to put my phone away. Maybe I'll do a little music for like 20 or 30 minutes, and then um, you do your little wash your face thing. Sometimes I'll do something with my hair. Sometimes I just lay down. I don't feel like doing it all. That's pretty much it. I set my little humidifier on because I got a humidifier in my room because the air in this building is dry. I'd be choking because sometimes I've learned that I snore. And so sometimes I snore with my mouth open and then the air be dry, choking. So I got a humidifier. And that's it. No, I don't really do a whole lot. I'm pretty low key. Monkeypox. Hopefully they get that mess under control. I'm a little nervous. I'm supposed to be in New York like tomorrow. So I'm like, okay. Okay, let's get this together, please. Um, oh, let me see what else. And I always have like a glass of water by the nightstand, and I sleep with music on. So I always have my radio on, like one of the little adult urban contemporary stations. Normally like Magic on the 2.3 or 96.3. Cause then I have it like at a low thing, so it's just a hint of it. So that helps you sleep really good. Um, I love your video on Tony Braxton. Please do one on Layla Hathaway. Only thing about them videos, they take so long to put together. And Tony, that might have been the hardest one to do. I thought Janet took me through it, but Tony had me going through it because I had to keep chopping it down. The original cut was almost 3 hours, and I said this is way too long. Like I know some of you guys do like the longer material, but I was like, that's too long because even I'm tired of looking at this video at this point. So I took a lot of things out. But not the crucial things. I took a lot of the fluff out to kind of cut it down some because I was like, this is really, really long. But yeah, those take a really long time to put together. That's why I only do like 2 of them a year because it really is like a month commitment. And then sometimes I'll go back and reshoot stuff. Like if I don't like something, we're gonna go back and redo it. Like I don't believe in just putting something out to put it out, just to have content out. If it ain't right, it ain't coming out. I believe in quality over quantity. That's why I don't have a video coming out every other day. I just can't do it because I put too much effort and energy. I'd burn myself out. But I have a respect for those who are able to constantly upload something all the time. That is some serious work ethic, and you are to be commended because everybody knows these YouTube streets is a lot of work. And then there's also no guarantee that what you put out is even going to really catch on. Because honestly, ain't nobody even looked at the Tony video like that. I was like, dang, Tony, you a little slow this time. Y'all doing my Tony video like y'all been doing our albums. But she'll probably catch on later on. But I love Tony. That was a fun video to do once I finally got the gist of everything. That Kenny G story is wild. I was cussing up a storm following up that. Like, man, what kind of nonsense? But I'm glad that she was able to really bounce back and really, Tony's been able to really just do a lot of really great things. Like all the TV production she's been doing, she's been touring, she's won another Grammy. She's good. I love Tony. Who's going to be the subject of the next episode? I don't even know. I want to do more male entertainers, but it seems like the women are the ones that have the better stories. Like the women got all the good stuff that happens because then you have the elements of like the sexism and everything else that happens in the industry. The men, sometimes their stories be a little boring. There's not enough to want to tell that you want to sit through it for an hour. But I don't know. I know people keep saying Michael Jackson, history to invisible. Michael Jackson had like the Michael fans have everything Michael Jackson on YouTube already. So I don't even think I would need to do that kind of video because the MJ fans already got it. Plus, they be a little over the top. You get something wrong, they be having a death wish. They be climbing out your window ready to come shank you in your sleep. I'm not dealing with them. Um, so I don't know if I'm gonna do MJ, at least Invincible. I don't know. I don't know who's next. Somebody was suggesting Sierra, like maybe the Evolution to Fantasy ride. Um, I don't know. We'll see. Oh, and then somebody had a really good idea where they said, what if you went the opposite way, where it's like you do like the comeback story, where like, I don't know, maybe you do like Mariah charm bracelet to Emancipation, where it's like, they weren't doing well, and then they have the big comeback, like a Mary J. Blige Love and Life to the Breakthrough, or who else? What's the album that Prince had before Diamonds and Pearls? Because Diamonds and Pearls is one of his comeback albums. It'll come to me later. But yeah, maybe going that route. So we'll see. I have some other like content ideas I've been meaning to do. I just haven't had the time to do them. But I'm just trying to mix it up a little bit. I don't want to keep giving y'all the same thing because I don't want y'all to get bored with me. All right, we're gonna do like 5 more minutes because I really need to go to bed. I have to get up super early. Let us see here. Oh, that is coming up soon. The Murder Inc. documentary on BET. When does that come out? When is that? Is that? I could be ratchet and just do the video from my phone, but there's a standard I have for this channel. Either it's gonna be on my professional camera or the webcam. Let me see. When does this come out? This comes out. Well, when does it come out? That's what I'm looking for. Y'all give me everything but what I asked for. Um, August 9th. Oh, I think I'm back on August 9th. Oh, that's fine. I'll be home by then. All right. We'll talk about it. I think. Unless they say something I don't like it, then I don't want to watch it no more. What were you saying about me, cousin? I was talking about how we trying to find all the family members and how we're stuck in 1881. Let's see. Yeah, I was talking about how we are trying to find all the little lineage of the family. Oh yeah, I was talking about In Vogue, Luther. Tevin Campbell could be a fun one. I think Tevin Campbell will definitely open some conversations though, just about even like the homophobia that existed, or how like a lot of black entertainers did not get the full support once people found out, how they lived their lives. So that could be an interesting one. All right, we got like 2 more minutes. All right, I'm gonna do 3 more comments and then I'm going to bed. I feel like if I did Tevin Campbell, Tevin would actually watch it and then tell me what I got wrong on there. Maybe I should just reach out. Tevin, Kevin, you want to do an interview? Let me repurpose this channel. We're going to start doing celebrity interviews. Let me see if I can get some people. I've been trying to get Shantae Moore for the longest, but she don't ever check her DMs. Let's see. Shanice is one. Let me say, do you mean, let's see. Let's see. Well, good night, everyone. Cousin and family's asking for a collab. See, the thing with me and I told her Tiffany is the real singer in the family. I just be getting by. Tiffany has power in her voice. All I got is tone in the ear. So we do something together. You're gonna have to turn my mic up like tenfold because she don't even need a mic. She got power. That'll be fun. We're gonna figure out something. Like the family is talented. So she got some stuff she's working on as well out there in Atlanta. So we'll do something one of these days. There was a song that did not make the hardcover called Family Affair that I was trying to get on. We just did not get a chance to make it happen. So maybe that I'll release that one of these days, but she'd have to record her part. My part was done. Shade, it could be fun. Are you going to tell us anything about your new job? Nope. That way I don't have to worry about people trying to find my new job and get me fired because they don't like what I said on YouTube. But just know that I still do work that pretty much affects the community in a positive way. But yeah, it's more so working from the standpoint of doing more so like web content and that kind of management. But the work that I do still affects people like in regards to like public health and stuff, which is pretty cool. And I'm still with the kids. I don't work with the children, but I still volunteer. When school starts back, I'll be there on Thursdays. So it kind of all balances out. I can still get my fix of interacting and having a great time with all my kids because they just will not let me leave. And then I can still do all of my stuff. And so it all balances out. And then probably after like a year, I'll probably shift from volunteering and actually just join the board. So that way I just help to make sure that the money is good and that the center will always be there. Are you going to New York for music? Could be not. No, I'm working on some stuff up there, so that's what we got going. Let me see. Somebody's blowing me up while I'm filming. I gotta call you back. All right, guys. This has been. Somebody said, "Are you single? How can one be down?" Ah, that's something I'm working on as well, as far as a song. How can one be down? I can't wait to put that out. I'm just having fun right now, safely. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. This was really good, you guys. Stay sane. Like I said, I will try to have some content out. You're not gonna see a lot of me in August because I'm really not gonna be home like that. I'm kind of traveling. Like after New York, I'm gonna go visit my mom for a while. And so anyway, stay safe. Again, check out that Tony video. I worked very hard on it and spent lots of hours. That's why y'all didn't see me for none of July because that editing took forever. But anyway, I'm out. I was gonna say share your 2 cents, subscribe, but I guess this is a live. Y'all have already shared it in the chat. So I will see you guys. Stay safe.